inspired many with his comeback from an injury that nearly cost him his leg as retiring from the NFL after 16 seasons. The comeback from the injury and 17 surgeries will be what Smith is mostly remembered for, but the former number 1 overall pick also accomplished a great deal in his career, notes ESPN's Tim Hasselbeck.
For a long time, maybe one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the National Football League. Didn't have the big arm like some guys had, but got it done in a lot of different ways. Was certainly accurate, a good decision maker, good leader, and I know well respected by so many of his teammates.
Smith was released by Washington last month. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's ahead of schedule after turf toe surgery. The team expects him to be at full strength for the start of training camp in July. Gonzaga star Jalen Suggs declared for this year's NBA draft he's a projected top 3 pick. One of Suggs' former high school teammates, Chet Holmgren, the top high school basketball recruit in the country, has made his commitment to Gonzaga.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Hope you had an awesome weekend, chock full of goings-on. Spring game. We had LSU baseball. We'll get to that. The Saints are not going to participate in voluntary workouts, and the Pels gag away another one, but they have added a draft and stash player to their roster. So a lot to get to here over the next 3 hours. Glad you're hanging out. Darry Beckwith in the next hour. We'll talk some LSU defense and also some sad news from the Louisiana sporting world with the passing of legendary Parkview coach Kenny Guillotte over the weekend at the age of 76. And Darry played for Coach Guillotte at Parkview, so he'll be with us next hour. Anthony Ranaudo, hour 3. We'll also talk to Ryan Clark in hour 3. And I wanted to get RC on. He was a former players rep for the NFL Players Association. I want to talk about these NFL players electing not to participate in workouts. What does it mean? Short-term, long-term, on the field? How does it relate to the Saints? All that's coming up. So glad you're with us here. Let's start with the spring game. LSU put a button on their 15 spring practices with the spring game Saturday in Tiger Stadium. I'll certainly give you some of my takeaways. Ed Ogeron did talk about the spring. Can you play the first one, Brain, please? This was Ed Ogeron talking about the spring as a whole on these 15 practices.
The beginning of spring, we asked our guys to give us 15 great days, and they did. So did our coaching staff. Our coaching staff has gelled, has done a great job of creating a positive energy and culture. We've had some tremendous practices. They put in a lot of offense and defense. Obviously, we were limited today at what we're going to do. We didn't run all our offense, obviously all our defense, and none of our special teams. I thought that we give the quarterbacks a very fair shot today. Each one of them had a shot with the ones, and it was a struggle for offense today. It was a good job on defense. I think when you look at our secondary, they're probably the most improved area on our football team. Durante Jones and Corey Raymond have done a tremendous job. Those guys are playing solid football today. We played one, maybe two coverages, didn't blitz. Thought the front played well. The linebackers are tackling well. Offense, they've shown a better production than they showed today. So I'm just going to give it to a defensive day. We didn't run a lot of our stuff, but overall, great spring.
We obviously weren't there for the other 14 practices, but we got to see the spring game. So I can't speak to the whole of spring, but I'll say this. For me, often, the number one thing in spring is stay healthy. You've heard me say that a bunch. Just get through spring healthy, no major injuries. They check that box. The oddity of the spring game that's always conflicting is like, if one side of the ball does well, is it because they're really good or because you're deficient on the other side of the ball? If you have a receiver make a play, are you pumped about that receiver making a play? Or are you disappointed about the secondary giving up that play? That's always the conflict sort of with a spring game. So for me, I tend not to look like all-encompassing offense, defense. I tend to more look at position groups and individuals. What type of day did they have? And a lot of people sometimes will come out of the spring game and say, do you feel more optimistic or less optimistic after spring? And I think there's somewhat of a mixed bag. I think if you're being honest with yourself and you look at LSU, on either side of the ball, there's a major deficiency at one spot on both sides. But both could be corrected. It's at running back and linebacker, and that is so obvious to anybody who watches. But they only had one running back playing in the spring game, and it was Ty Davis-Price. So when you get John Emery and you get Trey Bradford and when Corey Kiner shows up, is that group going to be better? Yeah, they should. Now, will they have the guy in this offense that can fill the Clyde Edwards-Helaire role? I mean, one of the things that Ed Orgeron said point blank about the offense, can you play number 9, please, Brain? This is a 22-second soundbite, but there's one thing that is just like a bucket of ice water dumped on your head when you hear it.
A great job of bringing back Joe Brady's offense, seeing the plays that we ran in 2019, doing a good job of spreading the football around, giving our players, the football athletes, in space and let them make plays. I think they've done a tremendous job of that, but we got some work to do. I think that when we solidify the repetition between the quarterbacks and get more quarterbacks, the first and second team guys, more reps, I think we're going to look a lot better.
Did you hear what I heard? I mean, it took the first 3 seconds to that soundbite, and nothing else really mattered.
A great job of bringing back Joe Brady's offense.
That's it. Great job of bringing back Joe Brady's offense. I mean, go back to 2019, and Ed Orgeron threw tons of bouquets to Steve Ensminger, who was the guy calling the plays. There was no mention there of Steve Ensminger, no mention of, the greatest player you've ever had in the history of your program as the trigger man. It was a great job of bringing back Joe Brady's offense. Like, that is a, completely absolute unilateral giving all the credit to one guy in that statement for birthing that offense. Okay, if that's the case, the thing that you don't have right now that's shown itself is whoever is Clyde. Now, you're never going to have a Burrow again, I get that, but you can certainly have one of these guys that's competent enough to run that offense, no doubt. But you need the version of Clyde, the guy that can catch 40 passes out of the running back spot over the course of the year, that can take a screen and get you 15 yards. That needs to show itself. Defensively, it's linebacker. But you were arguably without your 3 best linebackers on Saturday. Damone Clark was out there, but you didn't have Bug Strong, number 1 JUCO linebacker in the country. You didn't have Mike Jones, the Clemson transfer, and you didn't have Micah Baskerville, who at the end of last year was actually your most productive linebacker. I looked at Damone Clark on Saturday, and I was disappointed again, just being honest. Damone Clark physically looks amazing, but he's not an inside player. I think we see that with him. He's going to be much better used in space. He's not a guy that you want in the wash. He just looks too hesitant. So if Bug Strong can be that guy, I mean, think about this. Go back to 2019. Patrick Queen became a first-rounder because of his ability to freelance and get out in space and shoot through gaps and tackle dudes for loss out on the perimeter and cover backs and tight ends. Like, he became a first-round pick because he got to show off his athleticism, but he was able to do that because you had Jacob Phillips, who was such an instinctive player, who was so physical in the middle that could man the middle, and you let Patrick Queen go freelance a bit. Like, Damone Clark's the guy that needs to be out in space. So if Bug Strong and Micah Baskerville can play inside, and that allows you to play Mike Jones and Damone Clark outside, then that could be a real position of strength. We just got to see it when those guys get on campus in fall, and then we'll see it really in September when they head to UCLA. Maybe my biggest takeaway, though, was how normal it felt looking at that LSU defense. I mean, last year, for 20 years, y'all, we've watched LSU really be good to great or even dominant on defense. I mean, the seasons where they weren't good on defense were such an outlier that you can point them out. 2008, the Malvito experiment. 2013, 2020. I mean, it's every other year they've been, DBU and these first-round draft picks and, this turnstile of linebackers going to the draft from Debo Jones and Duke Riley to Kendall Beckwith and Devin White. You start Patrick Queen and Jacob Phillips, you start naming them, and it's just one after another because they've been so good at that position. And then DBU, and it just wasn't there last year. So it was so awkward watching LSU defensively a year ago be so bad. And on Saturday, well, after the second play, whenever we saw Keyshawn Boutte streaking across the middle of the field wide open, after that was like, oh, crap. But after that, I thought the secondary played really well. Jay Ward at safety looks like that's going to be a good move, and it's made possible really because a guy like Dwight McGlothern stepped up. And you've got Cordell Flott, and your boundary corners are set with Stingley and Ricks. I mean, you look settled there. The line of scrimmage, can you play 10, please? This was Ogeron. Offensive line, defensive line coming out of the spring game?
It's been like that back and forth. I think both sides are good. It's been like that back and forth all spring. And I think 2 Saturdays ago, the offensive line had their best scrimmage, and I praised them. Then the next Saturday, here comes the defensive line. But lately, it's been the defensive line. I think Andre Carter has done a tremendous job of teaching them how to get off the football and attack. I think it's good for our offensive line to see that. They need to go against a good defensive line every day because we're going to go against great defensive lines all year. So we're just making each other better. That's
absolutely true. And the thing that stood out was a guy like B.J. Ojulari, who had 2 sacks in the first half. And go back to my first point. Like, are you pumped about B.J. Ojulari, or are you worried about Dale Rosenthal at left tackle? And the answer to that one is probably a little bit of both. Ojulari looks awesome, and Rosenthal struggles in space against elite edge rushers. But everybody's got one, so can he elevate his game? Can somebody maybe make a charge to push for that job? That's some of the things they'll try to figure out between now and September. But nothing else. Just good to see LSU. Good to see LSU back on the field. To see them actually look like they're pumped and having a good time. To see them together and unified. A team that didn't have all the strife and division of this past football season. And that was awesome to see. Also good to see fans in Tiger Stadium and all that stuff. So spring game comes and goes. I will talk later in the show specifically about the quarterbacks. I'm not ignoring that, but I want to give myself some time. So we'll get to that a bit later in the show. It's After Further Review brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, we'll switch gears a bit and talk a little LSU baseball as the Tigers drop a absolute gut punch of a series at South Carolina over the weekend at the Box. We'll get to that when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Pluckers, and tonight and every Monday, arguably the best day of the week to get by Pluckers because it's all you can eat wings. Nicholson just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in or carry out. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. You know that much. Listen, LSU baseball, they're back on the field at the Box tomorrow night, Tuesday, against ULM. You want a place to watch the game? Pluckers. Before or after the game? Pluckers. Find your favorite wing sauce. You can even create your own. Do you like at Pluckers, it's on the menu. They encourage you to create your own menu item. Like if you want to mix a couple of sauces together, cool. They'll do it for you. It's at Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. TVs galore, so if you want to watch your favorite sporting event, maybe you're an Angels fan and you want to watch all the Angels games, but you don't have MLB TV. Well, go to Pluckers because they do. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine in, carry out. It's Pluckers, where if you like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
Bayou Ford powers the all-new 104.5 ESPN mobile app. Download the app today to watch our shows daily. Listen to us live wherever you go. Find out what you missed on demand and more. It's a free download available for both Apple and Android devices and powered by Bayou Ford.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We were a hair away from winning a series against a top-ranked team and played so well, really, for 2 ball games. We just couldn't close it out.
Paul Mainieri meeting with the media on Monday pretty much sums it up. There is a positive. It was Landon Marceau. Actually, the last time that we spoke was on Friday. Of course, LSU won against South Carolina on Thursday behind Marceau's total domination, 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 12 strikeouts. For his efforts, he has been named the National Player of the Week by Collegiate Baseball Magazine. So congrats to Landon Marceau, who has emerged as an ace in every sense of the word. And Marceau is one of the bright spots on this team, and there are some others. I would point to Jordan Thompson, who over this weekend proved that he is not just capable of playing shortstop in the SEC. He is becoming an elite defensive shortstop, and I do think his average right now at 278, that he will climb over 300 by the end of this season. Having remember talking about him the opening weekend and the first 2 at-bats that he had of the season where he struck out and looked very bad doing it, Jordan Thompson has been an incredible surprise. A very pleasant surprise. But the reality is, man, what happened on Saturday in Game 2 of the series, Game 1 of the doubleheader, was simply devastating. And in losing that game and subsequently losing Game 3, which I think was extremely predictable at that point, losing Game 2 of the series, the first game of the doubleheader, the way they did, and then having to come back and play again was almost like a fighter being punch drunk. I mean, if you watch fights, you see that where my guy might get dazed and then struggles to regain his faculties and just isn't there. That's how it felt watching LSU in Game 3 of the series, which they never realistically had a chance. They touched up Lake Money in the first inning, and it was never a game. But how cruel that LSU is 3 outs away from a dream scenario. You're 3 outs away from winning the series against the top 10 team in the country, and Labus throwing a complete game, and you would have had every arm except Marceau and Labus available for Game 3 to piece it together however you needed to piece it together to try to sweep a series. And instead, you give up that lead in the 7th, you lose Game 3, and now you're 4-11 in conference play at the halfway point, and mathematically I don't know that LSU can make the postseason. I'm not being dramatic, but when you just simply look at mathematical probabilities, and a lot of baseball is math. I mean, it is a game that relies on metrics and statistics and odds and percentages. You're at the halfway point of conference play. You're at 4-11. Your next two series are at Ole Miss and home against Arkansas. Realistically, your objective in those series needs to be don't get swept. Get one in each of those two series. If you're able to do that, which is no small task and certainly no given, if you get one in each of those series, that puts you at 6 wins with 3 weekends to play. At Auburn, home against Bama, at A&M. 2 of the 3 on the road, all 3 winnable. Let's say hypothetically you're able to take 2 in each of those 3 series. That puts you at 12-18 in the conference. Okay. The last time LSU missed postseason play was 2011. They were 13-17 in the league that year. Now, I maintain they got snubbed, as do many, because while their record was sub 500 in the league, their RPI was, I think, 19. It was somewhere around there in 2011. I need to go look it up exactly, but they basically got snubbed because they didn't make the SEC tournament. Well, the SEC has rectified that. They expanded the league tournament to make sure that never happens again, where a team in the league doesn't get into regionals because they didn't make the SEC tournament. So that wouldn't be an issue. I think 13 could get you in. 14 would definitely get you in, but this is the problem, right? You are going to have to do, to get to that number, to get to 14, you're going to have to do something improbable, like win a series at Ole Miss, win a series at home against Arkansas, sweep a weekend in one of those final 3. I just don't think this team is good enough to do those things. Can they do it? Absolutely. It's baseball. There's 15 games to play. We've seen them do it because someone mentioned 2008, and you're absolutely right. LSU in 2008 was 6-11-1 with 4 weekends to play in the SEC. They were 6-11-1, and they won 23 straight games all the way to Omaha. I mean, yeah, it's doable, but there's a reason why we mentioned 2008, because it was such an outlier, right? It is the example because it's such an outlier. It was an SEC record win streak. Could this team get hot and do something like that? Sure, they could. Is it likely? No. So that's my point. They're going to have to do something mathematically improbable just to make it to regional play. And without a third starter, with a very erratic back of your bullpen, with a lineup that at times is hot and cold, it's hard for me to believe they're all of a sudden going to bring it together and stabilize all of those things, allowing them to make a run. And whenever this season ends, and my guess is that it's going to end prematurely, I think what's likely here is they finish probably as a 12-18 team in the league. And if they finish 12-18, they're not going to make it into regional play. We're going to look back at 2 games. Game 2 against Tennessee, and if you remember, they were leading in the 9th. The game got suspended by rain. They restarted it on Sunday, and they blew the lead and lost. And game 2 against South Carolina, where they led 2-0 going into the 7th, allowed a 4-run 7th and lost. Those 2 games, just piece together mathematically what I just laid out for you, which is a 12-win league season. If you finish those 2 games, you're at 14. And 14 gets you into a regional. And if you're in a regional, then anything can happen because you will be playing better and you would have won 3 series in a row. And Mainieri's teams always play well in Hoover, so why not go there and get hot? And then the weather changes. You're focused solely on baseball. Teams get better as the year goes along. And then, sure, you can make a run. We've brought up 2018 Mississippi State. 2018 Mississippi State was 15-15 in the SEC and made it all the way to the National Championship Series because they were a talented team that was a little young. They got hot late, had some key players, Jake Mangum among them, and they just rode that wave of momentum all the way into and through Omaha. But you got to get in, and getting in is likely improbable for this team now unless they do something that none of us are expecting them to do at this point. I mentioned the bright spots. Obviously, Landon Marceau is a bright spot. How about Cade Beloso as well? I mean, I really wish for Cade this would have happened early in the season, but we've talked about it so much about why Mainieri stuck with him, and I believe it was the right thing to do, and I don't think it had anything to do with him not playing the field because he's had good at-bats, he's had competitive at-bats. He just had some bad baseball fortune, and teams were shifting against him, and he hit a lot of times into the shift, and his strikeout numbers are low, but his on-base percentage is fourth best on the team, even though his batting average wasn't great. Well, he's raised his batting average now like 50 points. He hit .444 for the series. He even had one base hit in Game 1 of the doubleheader where he sort of hit a nubber that went over second base and landed in the little Bermuda Triangle. It's like those are the things that weren't going his way early that are now, so I'm happy for him. And then I mentioned Jordan Thompson. When you look at Dylan Cruz as a freshman, Trey Morgan as a freshman, and now Jordan Thompson as a shortstop, as a true freshman, playing the role he is, nobody wants to hear about the future and talk about the future. I totally understand that. But it is encouraging that you got those three guys, which are studs, who are arguably the three best players on your team right now. They're all true freshmen. They're going to get better, and you're going to have this great core to build around. It's just you're going to have to be patient for it because as a team, this team without a third starter, with a bullpen that isn't closing, it's really just unlikely to be a great finish. My hope sincerely is that they can find a way to do something improbable. You've got an ace at the front in Marceau, who if he gets you a win on a Friday night, you just got to find a way to split the next two somehow, some way. And if you do that, you can steal a series here and there and maybe make things interesting there in that final 3-week stretch. But LSU's RPI right now is 27. They are 4-11 in conference play, and they keep digging that hole deeper. And we are going to look back, as I mentioned, at 2 games. That second game against Tennessee and the second game against South Carolina as whatever inhibits this team from getting to wherever it might go here this season. It's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. I am very excited, by the way. You've heard me for months talk about mycleanliving.net. Mycleanliving.net, it's NASA technology inside of these air purifiers. 2 products primarily. One is the Air and Surface Pro, which can service up to about 3,000 square feet. And the Fresh Air Mobile, which is the device here on set with me, which can service up to 500 square feet, constantly purifying the air, eliminating viruses and odors. Incredible, obviously, in these COVID times. It is proven in lab testing to eliminate the virus that causes COVID-19 and odors as well. Like I was talking to Steve Levy, my buddy over at Pluckers. He's like, man, look, in an industrial kitchen, you just have odors, right? You got grease, you got waste. It's like, I put one of these in there, within an hour, the whole smell in the kitchen was gone. It's NASA technology. It's incredible. Well, the Fresh Air Mobile had been, obviously with COVID, it was on back order. They completely ran out. Well, today they started shipping again. So go to mycleanliving.net and you can order. The Fresh Air Mobile is $199. It's less than $200. Like it's perfect for an office. I will never go to a hotel again without taking this with me. Office, bedroom, hotel, 500 square feet. It'll purify entirely. It's the Fresh Air Mobile. They are in stock again. Thank God. I can start telling you about them again. mycleanliving.net, mycleanliving.net. Go to the homepage. You see the air, water, and more at the top. You hit that tab, and you can see the Fresh Air Mobile right there, or the Air and Service Pro, and you get all the info on it. Again, mycleanliving.net to learn more. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Busy Monday edition of AFR. We're going to talk to Darry Beckwith in about 45 minutes, former All-SEC linebacker for LSU. Not only about the spring game, about the defense, but also about his former high school coach, Kenny Guillotte from Parkview Baptist, who over the weekend died at the age of 76 and was a great man. And we'd love to share some memories of Coach Guillotte. So we'll look forward to have Darry Beckwith with us here in about 45 minutes from right now. Stick around. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
Better coverage for less money. That's what they offer up at Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money. This is an easy process, and I want to stress how easy this process is, because I think when we start talking about insurance and it's something that most people either don't understand or aren't comfortable with, maybe you get intimidated. Don't be. Insurance Network of Louisiana. You can either call or you can log on to the website, lainsurance.net. I'll give you the phone number in a second. lainsurance.net. Quotes at the top of the page, fill out a little info, and they take it from there. If you'd prefer to call, 293-0450, 293-0450. It's so easy. You'll give Adam or Jay or anybody in the office some info about your current policy, and then they do the rest. I did my entire thing via email. You could do email, you could do text, you could do it over the phone, however you want to do it, whichever's most convenient for you. They do all the work. They go shop to see if they can find you better insurance coverage for less money. What do you got to lose? Nothing. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love, where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to ensure a safe tournament experience for everyone. The Zurich Classic. For more info and tickets, go to ZurichGolfClassic.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. A lot of spring games this past weekend. Of course, LSU held their spring game. So did Alabama. And not that you really necessarily care, other than the fact that, of course, they're a team that is in your division, and for all the obvious reasons why you would care about what happens at Alabama. Of course, they're starting a new quarterback right there, the sophomore, who's the Bryce Young, who's now the He's the MVP of the spring game and yada, yada. He'll be the next one that wins a championship and blah, whatever. But the reason I'm bringing this up is not because of anything that happened on the field, but what happened in the stands, and that is that Alabama hosted 47,000 people inside of Bryant-Dennehy Stadium for their spring game. And this is significant because the 47,000 people inside of Bryant-Dennehy Stadium on Saturday is the largest crowd for an American sporting event since the pandemic started last year. The previous high had been 38,000 for a baseball game that the Texas Rangers hosted in their home opener earlier this month. So, another step. Remember NASCAR early in the process had implemented social distancing at some of their tracks, and some of their crowds exceeded 20,000. And Roger Goodell has said that he expects to have full stadiums in for the 2021 season, so fall of 2021. And we're still roughly 4 months away, right, from the start of football season. 4 months and change. So still a long way to go. And more Americans are getting vaccinated, and that's going to alleviate a lot of concerns for some people. Not for everyone, but whatever. But this is a great step. All these signs of progress are very good. So normally I would not point to anything that happens at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium and say that's a sign of progress or something really good, unless if it's LSU winning and Clyde Edwards-Helaire spiking the football right in front of the dumbfounded referee who was so taken aback by what had transpired, he didn't even bother to throw a flag. That was so good. But spring game at Bama. 47,000 people there inside of Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. Who knew that Bammers being losers and flocking to a spring game would be such good news? We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Joe Milton. Remember him? Former Michigan quarterback. Apparently he's transferring to Tennessee. Report Monday by Rocky Top Insider. Milton has not yet announced the move, but he is listed in Tennessee's online directory for the school. So he's enrolled. 6'5", 243-pound quarterback. He entered the transfer portal in February. Appeared in 14 games for the Wolverines over 3 seasons. He is, of course, automatically eligible to play this fall, as are all transfers.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Former Memphis transfer DJ Jeffries announced he'll finish his college playing career at Mississippi State. Former 4-star prospect, started 24 games during his 2 years at Memphis. So he'll be considered a third-year sophomore for Ben Howland's squad. He also received interest from Bama, Ole Miss, LSU, Western Kentucky. 6'7", 215. When he came out of high school, he was the 52nd best overall player. Started 11 games, averaged 25 minutes per last year for Memphis.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
An 8th. Remember, you only have 13 players on a college basketball team. An 8th Texas A&M player has entered the transfer portal. Latest is rising sophomore guard Jackson Robinson. Averaged just 9 minutes per game in his only season in Aggieland. He is a 4-star prospect out of Oklahoma. Along with Robinson, 7 other players have announced their desire to leave College Station. Aggies have lost 58% of their scoring and 65% of their rebounding from a team that was 8-10 overall and 2-8 in the league.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
And Doug Nikhazy has been named the National Player of the Week by Collegiate Baseball and the SEC Pitcher of the Week by the league office. Nikhazy threw a complete game, 1-hit shutout Saturday at number 3 Mississippi State. Rebs rolled 9-0 in that game. He walked 2, struck out 12, did not allow a runner to advance past first base. First career complete game for Doug Nikhazy. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Doug Nikhazy, by the way, honored by Collegiate Baseball Magazine as the National Pitcher of the Week. And as we mentioned, Landon Marceau, honored by Baseball America as National Pitcher of the Week. So you will have the two reigning National Pitchers of the Week going head-to-head this Friday with LSU in Oxford against Ole Miss. It'll be Landon Marceau against Doug Nikhazy. That's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, that is the type of matchup, especially with Marceau pulling his weight now. That's the kind of matchup that you dream about on SEC Friday nights. We're going to get treated to it. Here's hoping Marceau continues this hot streak and the Tigers can try to get back on track. The Tigers do play ULM tomorrow at the Box, however. So a little midweek action before LSU is back on the road in conference play against Ole Miss this weekend. All right, to tap to further review, final break here of hour number one. We'll come back, talk a little NFL draft. Also, in about 20 minutes from right now as we start hour two, I want to delve a little bit into the Saints skipping these voluntary workouts. 19 NFL teams have announced they won't participate in voluntary workouts. What does it mean big picture? What about the Saints? Talk about all that. And Ryan Clark's going to be with us in hour three. Remember, RC was the players rep, the NFLPA players rep for the Steelers, and with the Redskins, actually, later in his career. So I want to talk a lot about CBA and how all of this factors in and what could it mean short and long term. So we'll delve into that a bit more in hour three with Ryan Clark. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
We are seeing temperatures climb 73 degrees. I know we had a little cool off at night, which is actually pretty refreshing. But it's the perfect time to call River City's 1 Hour Air. Be proactive. Make sure you call River City's 1 Hour Air. Have them come out for the preseason AC tune-up. It's just $97. Mention you heard it on the show, just $97. For under $100, they'll send a qualified technician to your house to tune up your AC, clean it to make sure it is running efficiently at max efficiency for the coming warm weather. I mean, think about that AC outside of your home. It sits there 12 months a year, 24/7, 365. Bugs, mosquitoes, dust, dander, pollen, 100-degree temps, heat, humidity, ice. Make sure that thing is running at peak efficiency so you don't get left warm in your home. River City's 1 Hour Air.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
It's time to get serious about your lawn. It's time to step up to the best mower brand money can buy. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best when it comes to mowing your lawn. There's sure to be a Skag model that's perfect for your yard, big or small. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood.
Contact All Outdoor Power Equipment in Bruley.
Skag, simply the best.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At front to back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to front to back boat service.
Well, I've had back pain now and then, but it got so bad I couldn't even bend over. I didn't want to resort to pain pills, so I chose Peak, hoping they could relieve the pain. They got me active again. I even lost weight.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
A shout out to Trevor Lawrence. He and his wife have donated $20,000 to Jacksonville charities after Jaguars fans gave them a wedding gift. So, of course, Urban Meyer's already confirmed it. Trevor Lawrence, he said they're leaning that way, or they're headed that way, is kind of how he phrased it, the direction we're going. Lawrence being the first overall pick in next Thursday's draft. Well, when Trevor Lawrence got married a few weeks ago, Jacksonville Jaguars fans started an online registry. They raised $11,000 for he and his wife, and essentially for him to donate to a charity of his choice. So I don't know if they're going to add $10,000 to it for $20,000 total or $20,000 in addition to the $10,000 that was already raised. Either way, a really cool way for Trevor Lawrence to endear himself to the community, do something great for that community before he's even picked. And he did say in the note with the announcement that they were going to donate the $20,000 that he quotes, "I hope to be a part of your community soon." So, and a direct message to the people of Jacksonville. Cool thing there for Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, anybody that used their celebrity to do good, we're going to try to highlight it. So great example of that by Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence will not be chosen by the Los Angeles Rams. But whoever is chosen by the Los Angeles Rams, that call will come into New York, or I guess not New York, into Cleveland. Because Cleveland, of course, is the home of this year's draft, which is very sad for all those prospects. But the call will come to Cleveland from not the headquarters of the Rams in Los Angeles or in Inglewood, but rather from Malibu. Have you seen this? The Rams will be setting up their war room at the Draft House. They have rented a home in Malibu. If you're not familiar with Malibu, Malibu is just a bit north of Los Angeles on the Pacific Coast Highway. It's a beach community. I mean, it overlooks the beach. And this is where their war room is going to be. Now, it is the Rocket Mortgage Draft House. They basically got their ginormous pad in Malibu sponsored, and that's why they're going to go set up shop there. So if you're the coaching staff, that's fantastic. And they're also doing a giveaway with fans to where they could go stay at this Rocket Mortgage Draft House as well. So look, full disclosure, don't ever call Rocket Mortgage. Call GMFS Mortgage because they're a local lender and they're the best. Largest local lender in Louisiana. I love GMFS, gmfsmortgage.com. They've financed all of my mortgages that Eric and I have done, 3 now at this point, and I could not recommend them highly enough, gmfsmortgage.com. So forget about the silly sponsor on the Draft House thing. If you need a local lender, you need GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. I will say, though, I love creative marketing ideas, and this is it. Like, if you're the Rams, you get to go set up in Malibu at an amazing pad overlooking the beach. That's where you get to spend your draft days instead of cooped up in an office somewhere, and they probably make money off of it. I want to go. I'd be a Rams fan to do this. For a day anyway.
Are they going far enough, though?
What do you mean?
I mean, the marketing idea is great, but what about the content end? They could go full on NFL Network's version of Big Brother. I mean, this could be real world. This could be the NFL's version of Jersey Shore.
Oh, God.
Get crazy, get wild, let's party, get loud. If you want to have fun and do something.
Who would be Snooki?
Oh, for the Rams, I have no clue. Actually, for any NFL franchise, I have no clue who would be Snooki.
Who else was on Jersey Shore? Because I never watched it.
So you had The Situation. You had
Wait, the guy's name was The Situation?
Well, Mike Sorrentino is his actual name. Mike Sorrentino's his name. There's also Ronnie. There's DJ Pauly D. There's Vinny. There's Snooki, JWoww, and there was the one that Ronnie was dating the whole time, and I can't remember her name.
I never saw an episode of it ever, of Jersey Shore.
Sammy, that was her name.
Awesome. But you do know that Anthony Ranaudo, who's going to be with us in hour 3, is from Jersey.
Okay.
I mean, he's a Jersey guy.
Mm-hmm.
He, no doubt. And look, I mean, all the vowels in his name. I mean, he's Italiano and the Jersey. I mean,
sure.
This is something that I think might hit home for him.
I think from a content perspective, maybe they've come up like maybe a hair short here. Or a hair product short.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
The one of the unexpected takeaways of last year's draft when they went virtual was how well received it was to see coaches and GMs and all in their elements.
Yeah.
To see Bill Belichick sitting at his kitchen table and like a dog walking around, you know. Maybe the biggest winner of that last year was Cliff Kingsbury, who was, if you remember the shots of him in his house in Arizona with the big glass wall, looking at the pool and the fire pit set up and all the the fire features. I mean, sitting there with shorts and his slip-ons, like his loafers with no socks. I mean, it looked very chic. People were very impressed by that. I mean, wasn't it Vrabel? It was one of the it might have been Vrabel. Someone with Tennessee. He was like, Kid was there, like stealing the show behind him the whole time. Anyway, yeah. I mean, that was a very there's a very everyman association with that, where most of the time fans of sports can't relate. You don't feel like you can ever relate to athletes or to coaches with their extreme wealth and their sort of untouchability. When you see these men and women that you normally only see on TV on Sundays, when you see them vulnerable, like in their element at their house, it humanizes them, and there is a pretty cool feeling about that. So I'm for that. I wish they would do more stuff like that. I mean, I think that's part of also why people have been attracted to a series like Hard Knocks. It humanizes the guys that are trying to make the roster, and you get a peek at stuff that you normally never see.
Well, think about Drew Brees' kids growing up with us.
Yeah.
You know?
I think all of that's but I also think that there is, like, the everyman feeling with Brees is just because he's 6 foot tall. He's not a giant hulking man. He looks physically like you or me. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean. Like when you go look at some dudes, like Myles Garrett, who looks like an alien, right? When you're 6'5", 270 with 5% body fat, I can never relate to that, So I guess I like this stuff. I mean, I wish they would do more of it. I mean, I'm all for things that are relatable, that give a greater sense of transparency. I mean, I feel the same in game. I mean, that's why I would always if they gave us the option to pay for a Nat sound broadcast where I hear what all the players are saying on the field, I don't care how vulgar it is at all. How vulgar or offensive, I would be interested in hearing that. Like the human element of all that's going on in that, I would be very interested in it.
Without the commentators or plus the commentators?
I don't need them. Do you need them?
Not really, no.
I'm good. I know they did I think maybe it was NBC. Somebody could check me on this. Years ago, they did a silent broadcast. Google that real quick. Google NFL silent broadcast. Because they did a game without announcers years ago. Sometime maybe early 90s or something like that, late 80s, something like that. And they did a game. I want to say it might have been the Dolphins. They did a game with no broadcast. They tried it once.
Jets-Dolphins, December 20th, 1980.
Hey, there you go. So in the 80s, so no broadcasters. It was, and to go back and listen to it is interesting, but you don't hear the things that I'm talking about, like the Nat sound on the field, the players talking. It was just stadium sounds is all you're hearing. I'm not saying broadcasters have no value. I mean, Obviously, I mean, I am one. I understand the value of it, but I also would be very intrigued to consume something in a manner in which we haven't normally been used to. So anyway, I'll be interested to see what happens there with the Rams. Malibu War Room, the Draft House,
featuring the situation
and draft beer. Lots of
natural tie-ins.
Lots of draft beer. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Sports Center coming up, gets caught up on national headlines. Speaking of the draft, of course, the Saints are gearing toward that, but they will not have players of voluntary workouts. Give you some takes on that when we come back at AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. I tell you all the time about their track system. Their track system offers calibration certificates online 24/7. So they do offer ISO 17025 accreditation and other non-specific accreditations as well. But so often, this is the pain point for businesses. You're running a big project. Maybe you're building this giant piece of equipment and I have all these torque wrenches that need to be calibrated. Well, when are they going to be ready? Are they ready? And then what happens if years later when your project gets audited, can you prove that all of the tools were calibrated to those specifications? Well, with Michelli, you can, because they offer those calibration certificates as a free service online 24/7, so it makes you more efficient as a business. Louisiana born and operated since 1947, but now existing in 29 states. It's Michelli.com. Michelli Weighing and Measurement.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
No matter what type of exercise you like to do, let Spectrum Fitness be a part of your exercise routine. Our low monthly rates and variety of choices will keep you moving toward your fitness goals. Come by and check us out today. Spectrum Fitness and Medical Wellness. Live life fit.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm
Christine Lisi. Veteran quarterback Alex Smith, who made an incredible comeback from an injury that nearly cost him his leg, is retiring from the NFL after 16 seasons. The former number 1 overall pick, grateful to be given another chance to play football after the injury, which required 17 surgeries.
I got to taste the big daddy, that I got to go, my Everest, that I could see if I could go play football again. And I got to do that, and I'm so thankful for it. I still feel like I have other mountains out there. And it does come back to me being a father and a husband.
Alex Smith, the 36-year-old, was released by Washington last month. He also played for the 49ers and Chiefs. After a standout freshman season, Gonzaga star Jalen Suggs declared for this year's NBA draft he is a projected top 3 pick. One of Suggs' former high school teammates, Chet Holmgren, the top high school basketball recruit in the country, has committed to Gonzaga. He is the projected top overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. Baseball, an MRI on Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. shows he's got a mild abdominal strain.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk to Darry Beckwith, former All-SEC Tiger linebacker, in about 15 minutes from right now. Talk a little bit about his observations from the spring game and also the passing of his high school football coach, Kenny Guillotte, the legendary coach from Parkview Baptist, who won 4 state championships there in his time in Parkview and passed over the weekend. Was an awesome man. I'll share some thoughts on Coach Guillotte a bit later in the show as well. But Darry Beckwith in about 15 minutes, and Anthony Ranaudo 1 hour from right now. There was a question from Eric Hood on Twitter. Did Paul Mainieri say why he went back with Fontenot? So just real quickly, and I do want to delve into some Saints stuff. Game 2 of the series, LSU was winning 2-0. Labus was cruising when Labus allowed a couple of guys to get on base. Went single, bunt. So second and third, 1 out. Went to Fontenot. Fontenot gave up the 2-run double. Mainieri did say after the game that he went back to Fontenot because he was trying to get a strikeout. And I did mention this on social media and some other things after the game. And that makes sense. You're sitting in there in a situation where a base hit, you're in a tie ball game. If you get a strike, and I understand also, say, well, why worry about the runner at third? Because 1 run is irrelevant in that case. You need to get it out, which I do understand, but look at what happened. You gave up the hit. He was putting in a pitcher who he thought could go get a strikeout. And I've made this point several times, and I'll make it again, because I actually went today and looked it up to see kind of if my intuition was actually backed up by stats. And it turns out it is. So my feeling, because a lot of people, I think, have been critical of Devin Fontenot this year. And my point has been, Devin Fontenot is good. The problem is when you use Devin Fontenot multiple times in a weekend, he's never as effective the second time in that weekend as he is the first time. And we've seen that manifest now this year. We have seen that manifest throughout his career. If you look at Fontenot this year, there have been 4 times that he's been used twice in the same weekend. The first time was against Youngstown State. He went out, faced 2 hitters, got them both. That was it was the second weekend of the year. A day later, they used him again. Walked 2, gave up a hit, 2 runs, only recorded 1 out. He was not as effective the next day as he was the first. Against UT San Antonio, this is the one outlier where he went 2/3 inning the first time. He did walk a guy, gave up a run and a hit, came back a day later and went a full inning, 3 up, 3 down, faced the minimum. But then the last 2 times we've seen this, the Kentucky series and the South Carolina series. He goes out against Kentucky, 2/3 of an inning, strikes out 2. He did walk a guy, but he walked a guy that came back, strikeout. A day later, they went to him, inning and 2/3. He hit a guy, walked a guy, gave up a hit, a run, only 1 strike. He wasn't as effective the next day. And then we saw what just happened against South Carolina. They used him on Thursday in the 8th inning, 3 up, 3 down, struck out the side. Wasn't as good in the 9th inning when he came back. And then when they went to him on Saturday, went 2/3 of an inning, he walked 2, he hit a guy, gave up a couple of hits as well. Like, that's a trend with Fontenot. Like, we're seeing, I'm going to ask Anthony Ranaudo about this next hour, but that's the reality with Ranaudo, or with Fontenot. When you are a max effort guy and you go empty the tank, you don't fill all the way back up 24 hours later or 36 hours later. And not everybody does. And we've seen that with Fontenot consistently throughout his career, consistently this season. That was my issue. Not sticking with A.J. Labus. Labus was at 58 pitches through 6 innings. I mean, the average is 12 to 15 pitches on an inning. He was sub 10 per inning. He was at like 9 pitches an inning. I mean, it was crazy. He was on cruise control, had not allowed a run. I mean, he was cruising. So he gave up a knock and then another single. Then they get Fontenot up. And in my opinion, in that instance, you should have gone to Edwards. If Garrett Edwards is your closer and that guy that you feel like can go get you outs, then that's where you should have gone. Hindsight's 20/20, I know, but I've said that enough at this point. Like, I'm not a guy that thinks that you should be using Fontenot multiple times in a weekend. We've just seen it throughout his career. So that was the explanation. He was trying to go to a guy that thought could get him a strikeout, and it didn't work out. You can add the Saints to the list of NFL rosters that aren't going to participate in on-site practices ahead of training camp. I believe the number's up to 19 now in the NFL. So the Players Association has released a statement on their behalf. In part, it says we stand in solidarity with our fellow NFL players across the league to call on a fully virtual offseason. By now, the benefits to our health and safety are well known, with significant reductions to concussions, missed time injuries, and soft tissue recovery. We came together as a team, and we will not be attending in-person voluntary workouts. We know the importance of preparation in the offseason, and as professionals, we are always preparing our mind and bodies to play the game we love. Okay. It's important to note, these aren't voluntary workouts. Voluntary. You don't have to go. Some players have workout bonuses, so if they show up, they get it. They get those workout bonuses. As we've detailed this year, because of so much of the contract restructuring for the Saints, nobody was really impacted by bonuses. The thing that I'm not okay with is blaming this at all at the feet of COVID. Because you went through a full 2020 football season with a 16-game regular season, a normal postseason, travel, etc., and you made it with those COVID protocols. You clearly could make it through voluntary workouts as well. So that, as long as you're not blaming this on the lack of COVID protocols, then I'm okay with you skipping voluntary workouts. But the other part of this from the NFLPA is about injuries and concussions, etc. Remember, these voluntary workouts, there's no contact in these voluntary workouts already. Could you pull a hamstring? Sure, but you could do that working out on your own as well. If you don't want to go to voluntary workouts, don't go to voluntary workouts. But I will say, strictly from a Saints lens, the part of this that concerns me is this year in particular. Because for 15 years, you have known when you show up for football, number 9 is going to be there. He's your unquestioned leader, and he's going to take the first snap, first rep with the first team. That's your guy. He's your alpha. He's the unquestioned, undeniable leader of the team, greatest player in franchise history. He's there. Well, he's not there. And everything you experience now, you're going to experience for the first time without Drew. First practice without Drew. First workout without Drew. First offensive reps without Drew. Like, everything is going to be the first. And in this year in particular, where you not only lose Drew Brees, but you also lose Sheldon Rankins and Trey Hendrickson and Malcolm Brown and so many other guys like that have been key contributors. If it's Janoris Jenkins or Quan Alexander and Alex Anzalone, guys that have been around and aren't anymore, there's massive turnover. You still have leadership on this team. I'm not denying that. You've got Michael Thomas, and you've got Alvin Kamara, and you've got Cameron Jordan, and you've got DeMario Davis. You've got guys that have worn the captaincy and guys that have been Pro Bowlers and All-Pro. That's all true. But building up your depth and establishing that culture, reestablishing that culture post-Brees is important. And any opportunity you have to start building those blocks and that foundation that you don't utilize is an opportunity lost. And I know that this is not something that is tangible. It's not something that I can objectively quantify for you. But we've all watched and loved football, watched enough football to know the importance of having that leader at that position and how objectively important it is, even if you can't quantify it. So, yeah, I mean, I do think it's important for the Saints to have time together as a team, and they're not going to get it in this offseason. I hope they can make up that time in this year in particular. I mean, if you want the comp, I hate to go, it's not apples to apples comparing college to pro, but I mean, look at LSU. They win the national championship in 2019. You have 5 first-round draft picks. You got 13 players drafted or whatever it was. You lose 2 coordinators. You had so much turnover. Spring was going to be important. Well, COVID hits and you don't have spring. And this team really struggled, obviously, last year. And I hope that the same isn't the case for New Orleans whenever they do get on the field together. As I mentioned, Ryan Clark's going to be with us in hour 3 because 1 hour from right now, Ryan Clark's going to be with us. And I want to talk to him about this story in particular from an NFL PA standpoint, the voluntary workouts and all that sort of stuff. All right, it is after further review. Love telling you about Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. Had our Hudco hat party this Saturday at Bayou. Thanks to everybody who came out. It was a ton of fun. Something that continues to happen, though, is we continue to get calls for inspections after last week's awful weather. HudcoRoofing.com. This is what I would encourage you to do. Go to HudcoRoofing.com, HUDCO, HudcoRoofing.com. There's a contact tab, top right. You can fill out a little information right there, and we'll get you in the queue to come out and do that inspection, which is always free, by the way. There is a text bubble, bottom right of the website. If you would rather text with one of our associates, you could do that at HudcoRoofing.com, or old-fashioned way, you could always pick up the phone and call either our Shreveport-Bossier office or our Baton Rouge office, HudcoRoofing.com. Look, maybe you've already filed an insurance claim. If that's the case, that's perfectly fine. You can send us your scope of work, and we can get to work for you. If you have not done so yet and you think you might need to file an insurance claim, at Hudco, we'll send an inspector to your house to get up on the roof to inspect to see if you have damage and make a recommendation if you should file a claim. And if the recommendation is to file a claim with your insurance company, we can help you do that. Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of door knockers, and we're never going to do that. None of us want to be bothered at our home, and I would assume many of you don't either. There are opportunistic storm chasers that are going to go into neighborhoods that are hard hit and knock on doors and ask if you can get on the roof. If you want to do business that way, that's fine. At Hudco, we won't. We'll just say do business with someone you know. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business. HudcoRoofing.com. HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, we'll be joined by former LSU All-SEC linebacker Darry Beckwith next on AFR.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new Camry for $299 per month. That's $299 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon benefiting dreams come true.
And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these amazing kids, and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we're asking for your support and being a part of making dreams come true.
And as always, your dollars stay right here in Louisiana. Thank you.
What if you could truly energize your body and mind from the most fundamental level? Your cells. Cellivate is a revolutionary health-aware approach to energy, focus, and mood enhancement, packing everything you need to optimize your mind and body from the inside out. The unique formula combines top-notch cellular energizers, nootropics, herbal extracts, and powerful antioxidants, all in one sugar-free 12-ounce can. Elevate your cells. Cellivate.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, LSU spring game was Saturday. Certainly on each side of the ball, position groups that most were watching on the offensive side. Running back, defensive side, had to be linebacker, where the Tigers were suspect a year ago. You bring in Durante Jones. You've got a new linebackers coach in Blake Baker. And you were out there Saturday without maybe your three best linebackers, but what did we learn? A former Tiger great, Darry Beckwith, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Darry, always great to chat, man. How are you?
Matt, I'm doing well, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really, really well, man. Let me start open-ended and just ask you specifically about your position group, the linebackers. Saturday, what did you see?
Well, obviously, you just brought up a great point. They're missing three of their starters. I believe that Jared Small was the guy who popped out to me from your alma mater, Catholic High.
Thank you for that.
So that's a plug for Catholic High. Jared Small did an outstanding job. I think he's a guy who's been playing on special teams. And sometimes when you get that walk-on stigma, you don't get the opportunity that you should get. So I think after that game, Coach Orgeron and their whole defensive staff has to take a longer look at Jared Small. You look at a guy like Damone Clark. And again, I am an avid fan of Damone Clark. I'm going to beat the table for Damone Clark. But I think for him to be successful and have a productive year at LSU and beyond, he needs to play the outside linebacker position or stand up defensive end and rush the passer and get some quarterback pressure. So I think for him, the middle linebacker position is not best suited for his skill set. He has a great skill set, but I believe it's a bit more suited for the outside linebacker position role where he can either put his hand in the dirt, stand up, and rush the passer.
All right, Darry, you stole the words out of my mouth. I mean, that's exactly what I said when we started the show today, but I want you to elaborate. Why? What is that skill set? Because this is where you have knowledge that I don't. What is that skill set that Damone Clark has that makes him better suited to be outside than inside?
Think about this. Playing the inside linebacker position, it's a lot different because you're playing off the ball. And when you're playing off the ball, you have to read certain keys. So we call it the triangle. You're reading from the tackle, running back to the guard. So it's a lot that goes into it playing with that. Playing off the ball, you have to have fast twitch muscles. I'm not saying Damone Clark can't run. Yeah, in the straight line, he can get after it. But as far as in today's game, with the spread offenses being sideline to sideline, he doesn't have the skill set to do that. What he does have is a straight line speed where an oversized offensive tackle with his strength and his speed, he can get up on the tackle heels and get pressure on the quarterback and cause havoc. I go back to his freshman year. He made a great impact rushing the passer, blitzing off the edge. They used him in different TE stunts, which is a defensive end tackle stunt. So I think if they do that, and if he realizes that the guy can have a great, long, successful career. He's an outstanding young man, a great student, a great person. I just don't want to see his talent wasted at the inside linebacker position.
Now, they got to have an inside linebacker for him to be able to move outside. We didn't get to see Bug Strong in the spring game. Did you get to see, I haven't asked you this, did you get to see him at all this spring? Do you have any impression of him?
No, I have not got to see him this spring. Everything that I've heard has been great. They say he's very physical. He's a downhill thumper, which that is great. And I love to see a downhill thumper as well. But at the same time, what I want to hear is he able to stick his foot in the ground and get sideline to sideline? That's something that Devin White was incredible at. And I'm not comparing him to Devin White. Right. I know that's way in another stratosphere. Right. But Devin White was able to play downhill and also move sideline to sideline as well, because in these different offenses, man, you have to be able to make a quick, decisive decision, and the linebackers have to make sure that they can plant their foot in the ground, get sideline to sideline, and guard running backs and do multiple things.
And Darry Beckwith is our guest, so theoretically, Darry, you have Bug Strong there at the inside that allows a guy like Damone Clark and Mike Jones, the Clemson transfer, to play their more natural outside position. Another guy they expect to have back also, of course, is Micah Baskerville. Had to take care of some academic stuff this spring, didn't participate. What is Baskerville's role in this defense in 2021?
I love Micah Baskerville. When he came in last year, I think he came in for Damone Clark for a few games and then ended up starting.
Yes.
I think he played well. He has a knack and a nose for the football. One thing you can't teach at the linebacker position is a nose for the football. That's instinct, and that's a God-given ability. Now, is he the fastest and most athletic? Absolutely not. But one thing he does have, he can diagnose a run-pass play. And with these run-pass offenses that they now have, you have to be able to diagnose if it's a run play or a pass play. And I think that's something that Micah Baskerville does extremely well. So hopefully he gets his grades in order, does what he's supposed to do, and be ready to go on the field this fall for the Tigers.
A couple more minutes with Darry Beckwith. New defensive coordinator, obviously with Durante Jones. Did you notice, I mean, it's a spring game. It's so hard to tell. But were there things that you could notice that were different Saturday from what you noticed last year with Bo Pelini?
Absolutely. I was talking to my good friend Will Lambert. We talk all the time about this. And one thing that I noticed and that we noticed together is that they're keeping everything in front of them. I know they played a lot of man-free But the whole thing in today's offense, obviously, Bellini loves to blitz. And I believe, and look, I came on your show when he got hired.
Right.
Okay. I took a lot of flack for it. But Pelini was still in that 07, 08 mindset where you can just blitz and bring the house. Well, you cannot do that nowadays with all the crossing and rub routes that the offenses do. So the main thing as a defense now is to drop 7, maybe rush 4, drop 8 and rush 3, and keep everything in front and allow your athletes to, if they do complete the plans, come down, make a tackle, either make it 3rd and long or get on the punt the football. So I think he's going to be great for the Tigers. Hearing interviews from the players, they're excited about him because of the youthfulness that he brings. He's able to relate to them, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Anything offensively, Darry, that stood out Saturday for you?
Want to go negative or positive?
I don't care. You pick. Just what stood out.
Well, for me, one thing that stood out is the offensive line. I think that's still an issue. Now, we have one issue already resolved is the quarterback position. I mean, we have 3 guys that we can put out and I think be comfortable with winning football games. And that's been the whole story for LSU for a long time. We have no quarterback. And that's great. So we have a great quarterback room. But now the concern to me is the offensive linemen. They looked out of shape. They didn't look like physically imposing. So they need to do some reassessment at that position. Maybe get a JUCO transfer and do some shuffling. Look, I think Austin Beckwith has been starting at right tackle for 3 or 4 years. Not saying he's not a great player, but that's another guy I think would be best suited if you move him to that right guard position. With his strength and his girth, he can be a downhill force in the run game if you play him at the guard position because he struggles against great pass rushers, especially in the SEC. You better have a right tackle that can protect the QB's blind side. So I think he's best suited for the right guard. And he'll be a great right guard. Not knocking him, but he'll be an excellent right guard. But that's the position I think they have to take a look at and reevaluate.
You said, did you want me to go positive or negative? So that's one. Look, and there, it's fair, man. I mean, that's an issue where they struggled a year ago. And the point that I made is just because you got everybody back from a unit that wasn't very good don't mean you're good all of a sudden. Those guys have to improve. What about on the other side? Did you see anything offensively that you liked?
Well, the quarterback. Okay. I believe you have I don't want to make an assumption and say who's going to be the starting quarterback, okay? I do believe the most talented person in the quarterback room is C.J. Finley. But Max Johnson and Miles Brennan are neck and neck to take the starting position. And with those 2 guys, I don't think you can go wrong. I look at a guy like Max Johnson, who's 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds, can run the football, makes great decisions. Even being a young quarterback, he uses progression from the 1, 2, 3, 4th read. Miles Brennan got his feet wet last year, was top in the country with passing in the passing yardage. Our defense was just so atrocious. It just made him look like he didn't really do anything, but that wasn't the case. I mean, Miles Brennan balled last year. Miles Brennan put up a lot of numbers. So I'm extremely satisfied where the quarterbacks are now. And that offense, they look decisive. It looked like they knew what they were doing. They had a plan when they called the plays. So I'm extremely excited about the offense. Got to get that O-line squared away and fixed up.
We got about 4 months to do it. Darry Beckwith, hey, man, before you go, I'd love for you to share some thoughts about Kenny Guillotte, your former high school coach there at Parkview, legendary coach who won 4 state championships, who passed over the weekend.
Coach Guillotte, and I was telling my parents this yesterday, besides my dad, this man had the most impact in my life. Yes, he was tough. Yes, he was demanding, but he had the best heart that any individual can ever have. The things that he taught me when I played for him in high school, I'm carrying those same characteristics to this day. He was always there for you. Simple thing. I remember my graduation party at high school. He came to my graduation party and sat with my family for hours. I remember I talked to another former teammate, Jordy Johnson, that I played with at LSU. He went to his wedding reception. He visited him when he played ball at Mid-East State. So he's definitely going to be missed. But what I want people to realize that this is not even though he passed away, it's just a transition. I think we should celebrate the life and the legacy of Coach Giat. He meant so much to me. I was just telling somebody just now, I don't want to go on and on, but he was so gung-ho about me going to LSU and not signing with anyone else. He did not want me to go anywhere. And I think after I got to LSU, I found out a story that he literally kept piles of letters from other schools in his office. He never put any letters in my locker. He never let me take any calls from any coaches, right? And they're like, well, coach, it's not fair. What if you want to take a visit? He's like, no. He focused. He go LSU. I had so many letters that he did not put in my locker. But you know what, Matt? He was right. He was a visionary. And guess what? I had the opportunity to play 5 minutes away from my house, won a national championship and an SEC championship, and I think that set me up to what I'm doing now and be able to go places, not in an arrogant way, but to be recognized as one of the great players that comes to LSU. And I say that very respectfully. I say that humbly. But it was because of that decision that he made, put me in the position that I am in now. He's going to be truly missed. I love him. And let's celebrate him.
Hear, hear. Darry Beckwith, former LSU All-SEC linebacker. Coach Giat touched a lot of people, man. There's no doubt. Even dudes like me who were Bears loved Coach Giat, man. He will certainly be missed, but like you said, he'll be celebrated also, which is awesome. Hey, Darry, always love a couple of minutes, man. Thanks so much for carving out the time. We'll visit again soon, okay?
Appreciate you, man. God bless.
Same to you, man. That is Darry Beckwith, all-time great dude. Appreciate a couple of minutes. And how about, I love Darry's candor as well. I think he laid it out there pretty good for the Tigers coming out of the spring game. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by Relief Windows, title sponsor of our Monday shows. Remember, Relief Windows is hiring. Want a job with benefits, health benefits, with, of course, retirement, 401k, and a bonus structure where you can control how much you make? Relief Windows. Y'all check them out, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Pels lost again, but they've signed one of their draft and stash players. What should we make of this? Have some thoughts. We'll go there next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Ichiban, Essen near Perkins. Voted by you the best sushi and best hibachi in the Best of 225 awards. And from our friends at Ichiban, their newest concept, Bayou Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. We were there on Saturday for the HUDCO hat party, and Bayou does not disappoint. My goodness. Find your favorite flavor, your favorite ramen bowl from there at Bayou. They got a great bar area. They got craft beer on draft. They've got top shelf liquor. They've got amazing ramen, the best ramen you'll find anywhere. And remember, the Sweet Society Sweet Shop is attached to Bayou, so you can go have your whole dessert there as well. Make a night of it. There was live music on the patio. It was a great time. Dine in or carry out, indoor, outdoor. It's casual. It's affordable. It's the best ramen you'll ever have in your life. It's Bayou Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. Bayou.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Pels lost again yesterday. Another blown lead late. Another perplexed Stan Van Gundy after the game. He didn't mince his words this time when the Pels had the lead by 3 with 7.8 seconds to go. This was a national televised game. I mean, Sunday matinee on ESPN. I mean, it was a lot of fun. For Zion's first time at the Garden. They did it again. I mean, 7.8 seconds left. 7.8 seconds left. You're winning by 3. Knicks have the ball. The only thing you cannot do is allow them to shoot a 3. Foul them, put them on the line. You cannot let them get up a 3-pointer. And they got up a 3-pointer, made it, and skunked you in overtime. Here was Stan after the loss.
We addressed it after the game. We don't need to have it one-on-one. Everybody in the building knows what happened. We screwed up that entire play. It wasn't just him. There were 2 mistakes on that play. They know what they are. We deserve to lose. When you do that, you deserve to lose. It's not like somebody threw in a tough one. We deserve to lose.
He wasn't done. Stan had a little more for you after the game yesterday.
Well, today was really frustrating because I thought our guys fought really, really hard today. I really did against a really good I thought we fought hard. We were right there. And all you've got to do is execute for 7.8 seconds. You're just supposed to come out of a timeout, do what we're supposed to do, and put the game away, and we don't do it.
The 2 players he referenced messing up, and the one that was very noticeable was Lonzo Ball. The other, which wasn't quite as noticeable, that admitted after the game screwed up, was Eric Bledsoe, who was instructed to foul on that play and did not do so. And Bledsoe said after the game that he just wasn't paying attention in the huddle, in the timeout. Like, literally said in the timeout that he just wasn't paying attention. I'll read the quote. Eric Bledsoe confirmed the plan was to foul at the end of regulation up 3. Quote, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Lack of focus. D. Rose got downhill and made a great play. How, as an NBA player, a former all-defensive NBA team player, is that an acceptable explanation? Listen, I don't want to get too emotional because, as we've talked about throughout this season, I had no expectation for this team. I did not expect this team to be a playoff team. I maybe kind of hoped they could get around that 10 seed and kind of be in that play-in scenario, but I did not expect anything of this team, which is why them not winning doesn't really cut me to my core like it does some others. But the thing that I can't handle are things like that. When a veteran player who was brought here and is a defensive-minded player costs you a game and admits afterwards he was not paying attention in the timeout, when you can't execute something that high school teams execute, that is when I have to say one of two things. Either that player is just completely not bought in and needs to be gone, or your coach does not have the respect of that locker room. Because this was supposed to be the move in moving out Alvin Gentry, who, remember, players coach, a little too lax. This is a young team. You need someone who's going to be a little firmer with them. That was supposed to be Stan's thing coming in. And they've been awful defensively. And clearly with things like that, they don't respect what he's saying to them. That's a bigger problem. That's an issue at its core. And one of two things has to change. You either have to root out the players in the locker room that aren't bought in, or you got to get rid of the coach. Let me be clear. I am not now, nor have I ever been, and I hope to never be, a fire the coach guy. That doesn't mean coaches have endless rope and you never get rid of anybody. That means I'm not reactionary. The first sign of things going wrong, you say, fire the coach. Stan Van Gundy hasn't even coached a full season with the Pelicans yet. I'm not saying fire the coach. What I'm saying is you have a deep-rooted issue here. And there is a fork in the road. When players are, like when you lose a game and a veteran player acknowledges he just flat out didn't listen to what the coach said and you lost the game because of it, that's a major cultural issue. And you have to figure out, is it because that player isn't bought in, you need to get rid of him, or do they just not respect this coach? That's going to go one way or the other. And it's a shame because, man, are they fun. The young talent is incredible. I mean, to watch Zion pulling up 12-foot jumpers and splashing them, and as athletic as he is around the rim, it's just his game is going inside and out. It's so much fun. And B.I.'s an all-star. I mean, they got dudes. And I know they got injuries right now, and every team deals with that to an extent, and it's going to cost this team. But that is the core of what they really need to figure out right now. The other interesting news today is that the Pelicans are bringing in Didi Louzada. This was a player that they drafted 35th overall in the 2019 draft. That was the deal that netted them Jackson Hayes, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and they used the 35th pick on Louzada. He has been in the NBL since then. He's been stashed there with the Sydney Kings. He arrived in the States Sunday morning. This is according to a report from Andrew Lopez at ESPN.com. Others may have had it as well. This is just the report I saw from Andrew. Apparently in his 2 years in Sydney, he's added 40 pounds to his frame, and he has been regarded as one of the best defenders. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have a clue. I've never seen him play in the NBL. I've never seen him play an Australia League game at all. I cannot pretend to tell you I know anything about him other than what I'm reading. But added 40 pounds, reliable perimeter defender, and of course the Pels are down on wing depth right now. Josh Hart has the thumb issue. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been out with the ankle sprain. So this is an opportunity here to achieve maybe a couple of ends. You bring in Louzada, who's one of the better perimeter defenders, and you get to take a look at him. You got 15 games left. When you look at the standings right now, the Pelicans are in 11th. I mean, they're one spot out of the play-in spot. But if we're realistically looking at it, where the Pels are at 32 losses behind the Spurs at 28, so you're 4 games in the loss column behind the Spurs with 15 to play. Can you make that up? Sure. Is it likely? I mean, you've still got to play Brooklyn again. You got the Clippers again. You've got Denver. You've got Philly. I mean, we've seen this team beat those teams already this year, but you've got a tough road to hoe, and you've got to make up 4 games, and you've still got a tough schedule. So it's unlikely. I'm kind of looking at this as, okay, here's your chance to play out this string for these next 15 games to get a look at Lozada. Let's get a look at some of these guys for next year. Get his feet wet in the NBA to see how he does so you can make that transition next year. And maybe, just maybe, you're adding a guy that on a team that's really struggled to defend can be a really good perimeter defender for you. Maybe helps you win some games here or there. Maybe not. Maybe that's asking too much at this point in the year. I don't know. But I kind of look at it and go, is it time to start playing for the draft? Is it time to start tanking? With 15 games, there's not a whole lot of movement you can make. I mean, you're at 32 losses. The Kings are at 34. The Thunder at 37. Then you got a big drop-off where the Rockets are at 42 losses and Minnesota's got 43 losses. And that's just in the West. I mean, if you look over to the East, Raptors at 34 losses. Bulls, no, forgive me. Bulls at 33, Wizards at 33, Cavs at 36. So there is this little, cluster of teams right there where there is some downward, hate to say it that way, but there's some downward movement possible if you lose enough down the stretch. And I'd almost prefer that to play yourself. Now, eventually, you're going to have to play for the playoffs. Eventually, you're going to have to take that step. The Pels team a few years back, with Boogie, the year Boogie got hurt, but you finally played your way into the playoffs. You won a playoff series against Portland, and then you drew Golden State and got swept. But even still, it was one of those things where you had to take that step. Now, obviously, you didn't go beyond that, and AD was gone the next year. But you have to take that step eventually. I just don't think this is the year this franchise is going to take that step. So lose as many as you can over these final 15. It's pretty clear you're not going anywhere anyway. See if you can leverage more assets for the future, and try to have a year next year in a full 82-game season where maybe you can make that push toward the postseason, with or without Eric Bledsoe, with or without Stan Van Gundy. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. I'm up against the clock here. My apologies. We went a little long. But Brain will have Tigers and the Pros to wrap up the hour. Anthony Ranaudo in about 15 minutes. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. The home market, the real estate market is so hot right now, but I am imploring you, you need representation. You may try to list your home for sale by owner, but do you know the difference between a good faith deposit and an earnest money deposit? What about inspection dates, closing dates, final walkthrough dates? By the way, who do you use for all of those? Do you know? Well, if you try to sell your home by owner, you have to figure out all of those things. Let Darren James handle all of that for you. Also, if you need to maximize your ROI, call Darren James, have this consultation, especially because the home market has been so hot. Darren has a book of buyers waiting to potentially buy your property. You might even be able to sell it off market without ever having to stage it or take pictures or show it. If you need to sell your home, call Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love. where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to ensure a safe tournament experience for everyone. The Zurich Classic. For more info and tickets, go to ZurichGolfClassic.com.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
Years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brain has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
You ready to be in all your glory?
I like it!
9 innings.
Callahan!
2 hits.
Callahan!
No runs.
Callahan!
10 strikeouts.
Callahan!
Just for you, Matt. Aaron Nola put on a show. No, that's enough of those. Aaron Nola put on a show yesterday. Pushes his record even at 1-1. Dropping his ERA to 2.19. It was kind of ridiculous.
You know what?
What?
You can't lose if you don't give up a run. Hashtag fact.
Suppressing. DJ LeMahieu went 1 for 4 yesterday. No, sir. You got enough in.
Sorry.
LeMahieu drove in a run with that hit. By the way, LeMahieu also went 2 for 4 on Saturday, where he drove in a run and scored.
And the Yankees got swept. I'm not happy about it.
Also Saturday, Andrew Stevenson went 1 for 2 with a double. He drove in a run, and he scored. Nas Reed had 13 points yesterday.
Should have stayed.
Would have been 20 if he'd have stayed another year. Reed also had 7 rebounds and a block. Garrett Temple was back in the lineup for Chicago yesterday. Temple's been kind of in and out with a hamstring injury. I think he's good to go now because he played 28 minutes on Saturday. Temple had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And finishing up on the PGA, Sam Burns finished the RBC Heritage at 6 under. That left him tied for 39th over the weekend.
How much did he make?
$31K.
I wonder what his expenses were.
For a weekend in Hilton Head? 4 nights. Probably a 5th night.
Travel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure sponsors.
I mean, he spent,
Sponsors have to pay for a lot of that, yeah?
Probably. But, I mean, he's playing golf in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, but you're also still trying to make a living.
I understand.
I mean, you can't just
think there's some weekends where that
losing.
matters more than others, and Hilton Head, South Carolina is a win.
It's not like you're playing Cleveland. Why are they having the draft in Cleveland?
Just to torture you.
Actually, they're giving me a great opportunity for content.
Yes.
It would be torture if I had to go.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by KYSBestHemp.com. KYSBestHemp.com. Kentucky's best hemp. Inflammation, anxiety, trouble sleeping, all natural CBD. Great way to take care of that. Our friend, former LSU pitcher Lewis Coleman, it's his company, Kentucky's Best Hemp. So save 30% with the promo code AFR30. AFR30 to save 30% off your order at Kentucky's Best Hemp. All right, it is after further review. Put a button here on hour number 2. Speaking of Lewis Coleman, his former teammate Anthony Ranaudo on the 2009 National Championship team. He'll be with us next. Paul Mainieri did meet with the reporters earlier today. Kind of talk about the morale of the team and coming off a loss like that where you're sitting there at 4-11 in conference play and you're halfway home and you have a steep hill to climb. How do they do it? We'll talk about that with Anthony Ranaudo and Ryan Clark next hour as well. I want to talk about all these teams in the NFL opting out of the offseason programs. That's all coming up in hour 3 of AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Hey, do yourself a favor. If you're looking across the room wherever you are, and there's a clock or something over there, can you see it sharply? How's your vision? Do you struggle to see when you drive at night? Does it worry you sometimes, not being able to see street signs? Or can you see the crawl on the bottom of a TV, even in HD? If the answer is no, if you squint, if you've lived your life with contacts or glasses, you're basically in the situation I was a couple of years ago. Actually, without my contacts or glasses, y'all, I was blind. I mean, like a -525. I had to literally put my hand almost touching my nose to be able to see definition on my palm. I was so blind. Not anymore. No contacts, no glasses. Seeing 2015 better than 2020. LASIK at the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, go for that free consultation. Change your life. Best money you'll ever spend. WilliamsonEYE.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Callahan Injury Lawyer.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Alex Smith has called it a career. The veteran quarterback who inspired so many with his comeback from an injury that nearly cost him his leg is retiring from the NFL after 16 seasons. The comeback from the injury and 17 surgeries will be what he's mostly remembered for, but the former number 1 overall pick also accomplished a great deal in his career, notes ESPN's Tim Hasselbeck.
For a long time, maybe one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the National Football League. Didn't have the big arm like some guys had, but got it done in a lot of different ways. He's certainly accurate, a good decision maker, good leader, and I know well respected by so many of his teammates.
Smith was released by Washington last month. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's ahead of his recovery after turf toe surgery. The team does expect him to be at full strength for the start of training camp in July. Gonzaga star Jalen Suggs declared for this year's NBA draft he's a projected top 3 pick. One of Suggs' former high school teammates, Chet Holmgren, the top high school basketball recruit in the country, has committed to Gonzaga. He's the projected top pick in next year's NBA draft.
We're back on Tuesday. We know the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. But who will be number 6? We'll ask Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher if it will be his guy, Kellen Mond. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, ESPN Radio.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Brian.
And the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplett. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Brain, I'm going to need you to help me with the button if you would. I lost my connection over here. Every Monday, recap the weekend series that was for LSU baseball. Former Tiger great Anthony Ranaudo joins us now. How are you, dude?
I'm good, Matt. How are you doing today?
Doing awesome. Much better than everybody associated with the LSU baseball program, no doubt, after this weekend.
Amen.
Let me start, though, with a super positive, which is Landon Marceau, who has turned into a bona fide ace. What have you, by the way, named National Pitcher of the Week by Baseball America today. What have you seen from Marceau that has allowed him to turn the corner from being a really good college pitcher to this?
I think it's just a little bit of a crispness of his stuff. I know that sounds crazy, but he's been one of the most consistent guys. I've always said this. I think I've said this on the show every week. He's one of the most fun guys for me to watch. I've enjoyed watching him since he was a freshman. He's always known how to pitch. He never really had overpowering stuff when he was younger, his freshman, sophomore year, or, last year he came back and had better velocity. But this year you're seeing that fastball. I don't know the metrics, but it looks like that backspin is just a little different this year. The way that it rides through the zone, I would go ahead and bet that his vertical break, on that TrackMan stuff would be crazy high. And then he's always had a great breaking ball, right? So you're seeing him just command that for strikes and then use it as an out pitch. I think out of the 12 strikeouts, it had to have been 8 or 9 on his curveball or something like that. So it's a curveball slider, whatever it is. You're just seeing just a guy coming together at the prime time of his career. It's fun to watch.
And I also heard Alan Dunn after the win on Thursday mention that specifically against South Carolina, Marceau was starting them off with more breaking stuff as opposed to starting them off with fastballs. Did you notice that just sequentially how they're calling pitches for Marceau, if that's changed?
I haven't noticed anything particular, but now that you say that, I'm going to pay attention to it. I didn't hear AD's quotes on that, but I've always that's honestly what I've enjoyed about watching him pitch is the way that he sequences guys. He sets guys up. You can watch by their swings and how defensive they are, and to me, that's the real epitome of a good pitcher is when guys are defensive up there and they're not comfortable. And that's really hard for a guy to do that isn't crazy overpowering and throw strikes, right? Because if you're not overpowering and he's going to be in the zone, it's a little bit more comfortable at that. But when you're seeing guys be defensive with his stuff, it's just it shows you how good he is at keeping them off balance.
Anthony Ranaudo is our guest, former Tiger ace in his own right, first-round draft pick, joins us every Monday to recap the series that was for LSU baseball. Now, Paul Mainieri said today when he met with the media, as people keep asking about the number 3 starter, that's not even the issue. It's more closing out games, something they could not do in game 2. Right. So let's go through that sequence. Labus is dealing. They run him out there, which, of course, means at 58 pitches through 6 innings. He hasn't allowed to run. You're going to put him on. Just if you would, as you're processing that 7th inning as it played out, what did you see? What were you thinking?
Well, I know this is probably not the best for radio, but personally, I just don't believe in Devin Fontenot right now. So for me, when we went to him, it wasn't like, oh, good, get AJ out of the game. We got our guy coming in, So I think, one, that speaks volumes to where we're at, late in the game. I think we need to have a guy that we know we can go to. He's got an out pitch. He's going to be consistent, whatever it is, right? And right now, Devin's just not that guy for us. And I hate to say that. His stuff is great, but he's just inconsistent, and that wasn't the answer. And you're right. You had to start AJ that inning. He's at 58 pitches. He's absolutely dealing. It's a 7-inning game. You got another 7-inning game backed up. You did everything right, and even you give him a couple batters right to try to get out of it. But it's just I don't even know what the right answer is anymore when you don't have that confidence of the guy coming in.
So I guess that would have been my follow-up is, and Mainieri said in that situation with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out after the sacrifice bunt, he wanted to bring in a guy that he thought could get a strikeout. And in the bullpen, I get why in your mind you're going, okay, well, that's Fontenot. What other option might have been there? And not just a second guess, but just to say, what's the thought process with Paul Mainieri and Alan Dunn and what they might have been going through right there?
Yeah, exactly. So to answer your question, I don't know what the answer is this year with this team. And that's where I've said this in the beginning of the year is guys will fit into those roles. When I was playing, it was Paul Bertocchini, right? Yeah. You want a guy that can go in there and get a swing and miss, whether that's a 76-mile-an-hour curveball or it's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, whatever it is. You got to put somebody in there that has the swing and miss stuff. And I think that's what you're going with. Devin, he's your best stuff guy, but with a guy that's just inconsistent and he's not throwing strikes consistently, that's not the guy you want in there, So that's what they were going for, I think. But I think we're just limited on options this year. I think we're just seeing where we're at.
Now, I want your take on this as well, because I know you were a starter and you also spent some time in the bullpen as well in your career. I went to these numbers earlier, Anthony. It's very obvious when Fontenot pitches twice in a weekend, his second outing just it isn't good. I mean, he's done it 4 times this year. It's been consistent. I mean, even this weekend, the first inning, he struck out the side in the 8th on Thursday night. And then he wasn't as good in the 9th, and then he didn't have it at all on Sunday. Why that struggle when you're asking him to throw twice in a weekend? I mean, I know the answer is obvious, but I just want to hear your thought through it.
What's funny is I don't know if the answer is obvious. It might be obvious, think it's fatigued, right? You maybe have a little less stuff. But I've played with so many guys that where some of it is mental. It's like I remember playing with this one guy, Tommy Canley, and you turn the TV on. He's one of the great relievers in the game. But early in his career, he was like, do not put me out there for another inning. He's like, I cannot do it. I'll strike out the side and I'll throw 100 and I'll have filthy stuff for that first inning. But then I'll come out and I'll be 92, 93. It's just something in his head, right? So I'm not saying I don't know Devin. I haven't spoken to him. But I think we see that, like exactly what you said. That 9th inning, bro, I was holding my breath. I don't know about you. So it's one of those things that it's clear. He's a 1-inning guy. or we soften up his stuff and stretch him out as a starter, but that's not the answer, right? So keep him as a one-inning guy, what he's great at, and that's what he's going to have to figure out. And that's what they figure out with relievers in the big leagues is guys have specialization roles. They're really good for one or two guys, and that's what it might be for Devin. So unfortunately, like I said, he's not the guy that I want in there at the end of the game right now.
Yeah. So they're sitting there at 4-11. I mean, you're at the halfway point. I think realistically, you got to get to 13 to earn a regional berth. You got to be 13 and 17. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the basement of where you have to be. Is that doable?
Oh, Matt, I'm your positive Paulie coming on the show, right? Like I always got the positive. Dude, I'm just like, it's limiting. And when I'm watching the games, I just get, and it feels like, and I don't want to say I was younger, so it's different, but Mainieri's first year, right? You had 4 freshmen or 5 freshmen in the lineup every day. You're rotating them, and that's similar to what's going on this year. You got guys that are probably going to be studs, but they're trying to figure out their role. They're trying to carry a team, and then you got, you're just a little unsure in the back end of the bullpen. You got young arms, so I don't know. I don't know if they can get to 13. I want to say they can. I have a bunch of friends on the coaching staff. We're all pulling for them, and Coach Mainieri is like a second father to me, so I want it, but it's sometimes halfway through the season, you got to look at maybe building for next year or building for the future of the program.
And I said it earlier, they will have to do something statistically and mathematically improbable, similar to what you all did in 2008 when you went on a 23-game win streak, which was fun as hell, and I hope they do it. It's just also
exactly.
It's also not like a real common thing, which is why still 13 years later, we're still referencing that winning streak. So.
Exactly, yeah. Let's not expect it, right? But yeah, but we also realize, like, as negative as I just was, we win that Thursday night game, right? Where say we shut out, AJ goes, 1-2-3 in the 7th.
Yeah.
We just won against the number 5 team, and all of a sudden, who knows what happens in that last game, and then a little momentum, right? So LSU baseball's funny like that. We have such good players. It's a click. It's one thing here. It's a Austin Nola, moved into the lineup. I know we were a little different team that year, but little things like that, right, where guys switch roles and you catch fire. So you never know. And it would be, like you said, it would be really fun. It would be at least put a positive note on what's happening in Baton Rouge and in the box this year.
There's a big difference, by the way, between being negative and being realistic. And I think everything you said is realistic, and all that's true, and I think people respect it. So, hey, man, F45 training, of course, in Baton Rouge on Blue Bonnet. You always get your free 7-day trial if you can go to work. Dude, can you imagine people doing kettlebell swings right next to a former big leaguer? Like, that can happen if you go to F45. That's pretty cool. And, of course, cards and culture as well. Anthony joins us every Monday. We appreciate you as always, man. Thanks so much.
Always, Matt. Thanks, man.
I do. We'll see you next week. It is After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll have Ryan Clark jump aboard with us. I'm looking forward to this. Saints and 18 other NFL teams opting out of voluntary workouts. Why? We'll dig into that with RC next.
AFR.
Make your backyard into a showplace. Make your outdoor space into an oasis, your own personal haven and getaway. Pinnacle Exterior Construction can make it happen. You want a pool? They can build you a pool. You want an outdoor kitchen? Pinnacle Exterior Construction can build you an outdoor kitchen. Maybe it's just something as simple as you need to add a fence on your property or a deck or a bulkhead. Pinnacle Exterior Construction can do it all, and they do gorgeous work. The process is actually a lot of fun. You call Pinnacle or you log on, pecbuilt.com, pecbuilt.com. Shane Danton, their landscape architect, they'll come out, they'll talk about ideas with you, brainstorm, and they'll do a computer-generated image of your property, what it'll look like, so you can see exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Pinnacle Exterior Construction. Check it out. Make your home an oasis. Pinnacle Exterior Construction.
I just thought you should know.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon benefiting Dreams Come True.
And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these amazing kids, and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know. And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we're asking for your support and being a part of making dreams come true.
And as always, your dollars stay right here in Louisiana. Thank you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, so the Saints have joined a growing number of NFL rosters who have chosen to skip the voluntary in-person workouts. And there's a lot involved that I'm curious about. So I wanted to delve into a resource that we have. So I asked our friend Ryan Clark to join us, because you may not remember, but during his playing days, Ryan was a player rep for the NFLPA and was also on the NFLPA executive committee. So I kind of wanted to approach this from that standpoint as well. So RC joins us. RC, how are you, man?
Doing well, man. You know, out here in sunny Arizona, about to head home.
Nice.
You know, all is nice.
Good, man. Well, we appreciate you while you're out there taking a few minutes to join us. Let me start with this just by getting your reaction so I can gauge it to these teams coming together, unifying, and deciding they're going to opt out of these workouts.
Well, I think the large thing is, you know, as a union, as the NFLPA, you do want guys to be together, right? You want guys to see things the same way, especially when it comes to player health and safety, which I think a lot of people are filing this under with the COVID restrictions, with COVID protocol, and different things like that. So obviously there's going to be a call from the PA, from the union representatives, from the liaisons between the NFLPA and the players, and then the players, you know, make their own decisions and have their own votes with each team. What you don't want to be is the quarterback club team, right? If you remember years ago during the strike, the quarterback club, you know, Joe Montana and some of those guys, those are the guys that cross the picket line. You don't want to be the dudes that step away from what the union wants. And so I think that, you know, as a union, as a players union, and as a whole, they've decided that going back right now to do voluntary workouts isn't the best thing for them. Now, that's NFL player rep, executive committee member, RC. Here's real football player, RC.
Okay.
So the workouts actually suck, bro. Just being honest with you.
Okay.
When you get to the NFL and you have 90 people, which normally is during this time, now you have a strength and conditioning coordinator who's trying to put together a program that for the rookie who's 340 pounds, who's trying to get in shape, and then the veteran free safety like Ryan Clark or Troy Polamalu, who's played 8 to 9 years so they can get healthy. More than anything, you want to keep everybody healthy, right? You want to make sure everyone's safe. The number one job of an NFL strength and conditioning coach is to not hurt anybody. And in some ways, they also don't push people. And so as I got older, I would never go. They would know I'd come out here and train in Arizona. I would make sure I was in shape. I was always in better shape than everybody who stayed there the entire time, so they allowed me to do that. And so a lot of these guys would rather train with their own trainers, with the guys that they have all off season. The other piece is this. Let's say you play in Green Bay, but you live in Miami, Florida. Would you rather be in Green Bay or Miami, Florida? You'd rather be in Miami, Florida. And so, yes, a lot of this is about COVID protocol and about the restrictions and about player health and safety. But let's be honest, a lot of this is about they don't want to be there right now. And if you're only going to make $400 to $800 a week being there and you're already a multi-millionaire, it's a little easy to say, yeah, I'm not going to go.
Okay, so these are still voluntary workouts, right? So,
yes.
I mean, I don't mean to be like totally passive with this, but why is this a big deal if these are voluntary workouts if guys decide they aren't going to go?
I don't necessarily know. I think it's a big deal because you now continue to take power away from the NFL, away from each organization. And everything you ever do when it involves the PA and it involves voting with the players is a power struggle. You know, the power struggle of coaches and teams and organizations wanting players to be in the building in the off season. And now you have 2 years running. Well, holy hell, we can actually have a season if we don't have them here for 3 months in the off season. Like, they can actually play football games and Tom Brady can win a Super Bowl. Yes. Right. The same way he won 6 of them in New England before, you had this. And so I think that's always, one of those things where the league is trying to figure out a way. Okay, thank you. My bad, guys. I'm turning the rental car in. And so,
Look at it! See, I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
That was the rental car, lady, guys. That was really.
Oh, God. Okay.
And so, man, I just think, that part of it is big. When you go into future negotiations, as player health and safety becomes to be a bigger deal, and now you do have 17 games, or you're going to now cut some of these off seasons short. And it's also a big deal when you talk about competitive, not necessarily competitive advantage, because obviously everybody will have the same off season. But think about teams who will have new coaches and new quarterbacks. If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and you'll have Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. Now, neither that coach or that team gets an offseason.
Right.
Neither that new quarterback doesn't get an offseason. And so I think all of these things are important to organizations. And so that's why it becomes a bigger deal. And trust me, bro, like, these things are voluntary, mandatory for some people. Like I had a great head coach in Mike Tomlin. Once Troy and I began to get up there in years, he'd always put a call into us together in the off season. He'd say, okay, what week are you guys going to come? And we'd say, okay, do you want us there the same week, or would you like us to alternate weeks so people could see us at different times? And so, Troy could do some veteran coaching one week. I could do some veteran coaching the other. He's like, oh, just come the same week. And so that's what we would do. But, for some people, this is an important part of the year. This is the way some guys get an opportunity to make the team. And so it is a big deal in a sense. But, I've been talking to the players I train Sconey, whether it's, Boston Scott, DeShazer Everett, Deontay Thompson, kind of asking them what they feel. And, it kind of got down to it. Guys love the on-the-field stuff. They love getting opportunities to work with their quarterbacks or work with their secondary coaches and do different things like that. But as far as the training and being there all off season, they don't want to do that. And so I think the happiest medium would be the last two phases where you can do some on-the-field stuff. You can actually get in the room with the coaches, and then you can have OTAs and minicamp. I think that would be the happy place and the happy medium, which is where we may be moving to in the future. Now that players see you can have a season without an off season.
I got two more things. One of them you kind of already answered. Ryan Clark's our guest. I was going to ask what is actually accomplished in these voluntary workouts. Is there on-field work that goes on to any great degree, or is it just weight room, get in shape stuff?
Okay, so when it starts, it's just weight room, get in shape stuff, right? So there's phases to these workouts. And so it starts that way, and then every 3 weeks you can do something more. Then it moves to being able to get into the classroom, and through the classrooms be able to, study film or, learn what the defenses are, implement defenses, and start to get things programmed as to where these young guys are learning, and even some of the older guys getting a chance to go over some of the things from the season, or if you have a new head coach. Then when you move into the next phase, now you can do like actual skill work, actual walkthroughs, and getting guys prepared. And then obviously the last phase is the OTAs, mini camp phase, where there is actual on-field practice.
Okay. Specifically for New Orleans, no Drew Brees is just fundamentally different with the fabric of the organization. So I kind of believe like all this stuff kind of matters more for the Saints this year. Do you buy that?
You say it one more time, Matt, last part?
I think with no Drew Brees being there, all of this stuff matters more for them this year than it might in a normal year. Do you buy that?
100%.
Yeah.
I absolutely buy it, Sconey. And I think we're even in a world where, listen, we all kind of believe Sean Payton has an idea of who he wants the quarterback to be.
Of course.
But, we don't know what Jameis Winston looks like as the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, or if it's going to be Taysom Hill. Is there actual battle that goes on in the offseason? Does the offense change? Also, is it different than having one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who can also be one of the greatest de facto on-field offensive coordinators in the league while he's playing, right? A guy like Drew Brees who can go through the progressions in warm-up. He understands the offense so well. Now you don't have that anymore. So how does the offense run? What is the offense? How different it is? And so I think that's really huge for the Saints offensively this year. And so it's a deal. It's a huge deal. And especially figuring out how things play out in the fall as well.
Ryan Clark on Twitter, of course, at RealRClark25. Make sure that you are listening to the Face First podcast. Subscribe up on iTunes or Podbean. You get the Face First YouTube and the DB Precision YouTube channel as well. You'll go subscribe to all RC's content. Hey, man, you're the best. Always appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks for making it work today.
Oh, man, absolutely, man. Have a good one, bro.
All right, you do the same. Ryan Clark, I'm glad to hear him say that, not because I like the result of it, but it's from a guy who was, not only did he play for 13 years, but he was also the player rep for the PA. It was on the PA executive committee. So he's got a lot of working knowledge of how all of that works internally in the NFL. So from my read of that, it's going to be a much bigger deal if the Saints players aren't on the field for OTAs when they would actually be doing on-field work. But especially in this year, it all matters. It all matters as you're replacing Drew Brees. So, okay, thanks to Ryan for a couple of minutes. Remember the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Beach and pool season right around the corner, y'all. Get your beach body ready with the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Maybe it's Ideal Protein. Ideal Protein diet. You want to lose the LBs? It can work. It worked for me. I went from 227 to 206 in about 7 weeks. It was crazy, but it absolutely works. Maybe diet and exercise, little areas that you can't knock out, love handles, stubborn belly fat. Maybe it's the butt or thighs, Vela Shape, Ultra Shape. They can take care of it for you. You want to look and feel like your younger self? The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana can help. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. Learn more about their products and services, theantiagingclinics.com. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. A ton that I still want to get to. We talked at the beginning of the show today, was my takeaways about the LSU spring game. The one thing I haven't talked about yet specifically are the quarterbacks. Darry Beckwith was with us last hour, and he went deep dive on the defensive side of the ball. So we've got a lot of content throughout the show today. The show opened in hour 1, Darry Beckwith in hour 2. You can catch all that on demand at 1045ESPN.com. I do want to talk quarterbacks when we come back. And Paul Mainieri did work through his pitching plan for the midweek game against ULM tomorrow and then this weekend. So we'll try to get all of that in this next segment. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Of course, every adult 16 and older in the U.S. is now available to get the COVID-19 vaccine. If you want to learn more about the COVID vaccine, if you want to schedule your vaccine, go to the website, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Right there on the homepage, you'll see the Learn More tab about the vaccine where you can get more information about the COVID vaccine. You can schedule your COVID vaccine. More than 31,000 Baton Rougeans have already gotten their COVID-19 vaccine at the Baton Rouge General Hospital, and you could be next. brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. But remember, Baton Rouge General isn't just the COVID-19 vaccine. Of course, they are that. But if you need to have elective procedures or emergency room care, deliver a baby, they do it all at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. I've told you for years about the Mako robot for joint replacements. It's all available at brgeneral.org.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new RAV4 for $329 per month. That's $329 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, cruising along, Otter Locks, a little more than 10 minutes from right now, and I'll give it out right now. I'm going to give you Celtics tonight, lay the 6 with Boston. That is a scone cold lead pipe lock. That game tips at 6, so 26 minutes from right now. So if you want to go ahead and get your play in, I like Boston tonight, laying the 6. The spring game Saturday, I've talked about basically all the different angles of it. Led the show today talking about some of my takeaways. Go back and listen on demand at 1045ESPN.com. Darry Beckwith was with us last hour, talked linebackers, defense. The one thing I haven't gone deep dive into really is quarterback. Now, Ed Ogeron, after the game, this is three brain, if you would, had this to say about the quarterback's performances in the spring game.
Miles 11 for 15, 106. I think that Max was 8 of 13, 77. Garrett 7 of 12, TJ 4 of 9. I think that what you saw out there today is what you seen in spring ball. We come off the field one day, Garrett could be the best quarterback. Then the next day was TJ. Then the next day was Miles. The next day was Max. So I think that when we come back to camp, we're going to have to designate a certain amount of reps for certain guys and give the first and second guy more reps. I think that's going to be a process during camp. I don't know at what part of camp is going to happen, but we're going to have to give the first and second guy more reps to see who's going to be the starter.
Okay, I want to remind you something. Because I actually I did an interview this morning on Sirius XM, SEC this morning with Peter Burns and Cole Kubley. And Peter asked me, he said, over under TJ Finley transferring 3.5 weeks. And I laughed. I said, over. My takeaway, I think, is what many of you saw. TJ Finley has the best arm talent. I don't even know that that's really debatable. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the guy that wins the job. He's got the best arm talent, and he actually has started more than anybody else. Finley started 5 games. Miles started 3. Max started 2. The turnovers from Finley are obviously a differentiator. And I think they look at Max Johnson and say, that's the guy with the poise, the talent, the skill set, everything you need with the largest upside. Miles probably most ready to play now, but as a fifth-year guy, is he already bumping up against his ceiling? But it's likely going to be a battle between those two guys, between Max Johnson and Miles Brennan. I don't think that that's any breaking news. But what I do want to point out is what Ed Ogeron said there about, at some point we're going to have to pare down the reps, because everybody got equal reps in the spring game. I mean, it was actually impressive how they did it with 4 guys taking equal reps among first team, second team, the white team, purple team, all that stuff. Like, they did a really good job rotating all of them. And who would have thought that Miles Brennan would have been the last quarterback on the field Saturday? But that's actually kind of how it played out. So, this is what I'll say about quarterbacks specifically. We do have a blueprint for how they've done this in the past. In 2018, when Joe Burrow came in, they went all the way through fall camp. And they had Burrow and Brennan and McMillan and Narcisse. They had 4 guys. And if you remember, we all assumed Joe Burrow was going to be the guy. But that isn't exactly how it played out. They did a competition. Now, we didn't learn this until our friend Jeffrey Marks had a long piece that he did for The Advocate about Joe Burrow and Ed Ogeron and their relationship. And it was a 3-part piece, if you remember. First part was recruiting Joe. Second part was him winning the job. And the third part was winning the championship. Well, in that second part, and I went and pulled it today because I wanted to reference it. And I'll read just a few small excerpts. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But he writes, the so-called Justin camp of players was not happy. Justin McMillan. Coach O called a meeting with the team's leadership council. Some of the players closest to McMillan were upset because they felt camp had opened with the starting job being Joe's to lose instead of something he had to earn. Coach O explained that the offensive coaching staff had been grading the quarterbacks every day of camp. He even had a printout of the results with him to emphasize the way every movement had been studied and documented. Quote, "Hey, my ass is on the line too," Coach O recalls saying. Quote, "You don't think I'm going to play the best player? You got to trust us on this. You got to trust me on this." That's what Ed Ogeron told his leadership council. And again, remember, that was in 2018. You're coming off the 2017 season where people wanted to fire him after 1 year. Like, they were legit having buyout conversations after 1 year. So he knew the pressure on him going into 2018. And that's the context of that. Like, they were going to go with the best guy. It's a similar situation now. You're coming off a really disappointing season where you're 5-5. A lot of pressure on the program. You got 4 quarterbacks. You went through spring where you divvied up reps. But ultimately what happened there is they went through 2 weeks of camp. They were divvying up reps evenly. And at that point, they had to pare it down because they had to get ready for the opener against Miami. And that's where they determined Joe was going to be the guy. And Justin and Lowell Narcisse transferred at that point. So we have history that's already shown how this goes. Like, they're going to divvy up the reps, likely evenly through the first couple of weeks of camp. And at some point, they're going to have to pare that down to decide who their guy is as they move forward. So, I mean, yes, I think we all are sitting here thinking it's going to be Miles Brennan, Max Johnson, Miles Brennan, whatever order, however that may pair out with those two guys. And certainly Garrett Nussmeier isn't going to transfer before he takes a stab his freshman year. Everyone's kind of looking at TJ Finley to see can he bump his way back up into that conversation with those two guys. And that's the question that will likely get that answer as they start fall camp. But, I mean, I'll remind you, like, you're always a turned ankle or a ruptured abdomen away from you being the guy. So nothing I don't think was earned or decided on Saturday. I think if they had to go play a game tomorrow, then Max Johnson would get the start. The same reason he took the first rep on Saturday. But I certainly don't think anything has been firmly decided as far as who the starting quarterback is going to be. And Ed Ogeron, his history of how he handles this shows that he'll do it fairly. He did it this season. When Miles Brennan got hurt, we all assumed Max was going to be the starter. They had 2 weeks because the Florida game got postponed. They had 2 weeks before they played South Carolina. They graded every rep. And ultimately, TJ Finley was better in practice, and TJ got the start. Started 5 games. So I assume that they'll do something similar, and I think you'll go into a year where we see both Max Johnson and Miles Brennan play for LSU. Probably play in that first game against UCLA. All right, that's further review. Glad to have you with us here on a Monday edition of AFR after a really good weekend. Disappointing, obviously, for the baseball Tigers. Paul Mainieri did meet with the media today and said Will Helmers is going to start on Tuesday against ULM. Said he wants to see some of the younger arms. And he also said that Matthew Beck was going to throw today for the first time, a bullpen for the first time, which is encouraging that you may get him back. But he was asked kind of about that third starter. Can you play 4, please? He was asked about that third starter. And he kind of dismissed that conversation and said that's not really the biggest thing going on right now.
But in all honesty, the least of my concerns right now is the third starter role. The bigger concern is being able to close out a game that we have a chance to win. And that's been my biggest concern all year. You guys have been watching the games. It started in the non-conference games. Being able to close out a game has been the biggest concern. If you go back even in the several years that I've been the coach here, I've always said that the ability to close out a game, the closer's role is more important than the third starter. You got 2 starters and you got to have somebody that can, what good does it do to pitch 6-7 good innings and not be able to finish a game? I'd rather have somebody that can do that than worry about the third starter. You can always try to piece together a third game if you had to with everybody that remains.
The counter argument is, look at what you were when A.J. Labus was your third starter, and look at what you are now. When you had A.J. Labus as your third starter, you won Game 3, your opening weekend series. The second weekend was like a round robin 4. Now, you did lose to Oral Roberts, but that was a 3-1 ball game. You beat UTSA. It was your only win of the Mississippi State series. I mean, that was the point where we looked and we're like, that's, your best chance to win a game was on Sunday because you had AJ Labus going. And now your best chance to win is Friday night with Landon Marceau. And Landon's been great, but everybody's got an ace. And you're about to run up against that this weekend with Ole Miss because they're going to throw Doug Nikhazy, and he's a lefty, and he is incredible. And that's going to be a really, really, really tough game to win, no matter how good Landon Marceau is on the road against Ole Miss. All right, it's after further review. Otter locks and what we learned to wrap up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Take 60 seconds to remind you about Clegg's. Boy, after just such an awful week of weather last week, all the rain and the hail and the 5, 6, 7 straight days of rain, finally, we have clear skies. Sunday was gorgeous. Today was even better, and we have a really nice sunny week ahead. Great time to get by Clegg's. Great time to get in your garden. Great time to just plant something at Clegg's Nursery. Johnny Naylor seeds, if you want to plant that vegetable garden, they got them. You want the vegetable plants, they got them at Clegg's. If you want flowers, all different types of blooms, they got them at Clegg's Nursery. Not sure what to plant? Clegg's Nursery, their horticulturists have answers for you. Just get on by, find someone in a blue shirt and ask them. Say, take a picture of your backyard and bring it and show them and say, look, this is what my backyard looks like. What would look good here? They can answer all those questions for you. They're partnered with a True Value Hardware store, so you can find anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware store at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's.
What if you could truly energize your body and mind from the most fundamental level? Your cells. Cellivate is a revolutionary health-aware approach to energy, focus, and mood enhancement, packing everything you need to optimize your mind and body from the inside out. The unique formula combines top-notch cellular energizers, nootropics, herbal extracts, and powerful antioxidants, all in one sugar-free 12-ounce can. Elevate your cells. Cellivate.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service. HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love, where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to ensure a safe tournament experience for everyone. The Zurich Classic. For more info and tickets, go to ZurichGolfClassic.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come, wrapping up a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. As always, our friends over at Relief Windows, windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. And I keep reminding you they are hiring. So maybe you're heading home from a job you don't love or heading to a job you don't love. Relief Windows could be that answer for you. Brandon Holly, Adrian Holly, their whole team, awesome people. Health benefits, thank you. Retirement benefits. And they got a bonus structure where you can control how much you make. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. And we welcome aboard the one and only Jimmy Ott. How are you, Otter?
Doing good, Matthew. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, man. How was the weekend?
The weekend, well, last we left you on Thursday, we had a rough day, but that was
no kidding.
We had a great four-week run. And so what did I do on Friday when you don't let me on? We went 10-1.
Yeah, thanks so much.
10-1.
Appreciate
that.
Well, you hype Colucci's picks, and he lays a big fart in church. Turn the punch bowl, and then you go 10-1 on Friday and give me nothing. I appreciate it, Otter.
Well, I mean, Colucci's.
How do you want to get E-Rock back on the Otter bandwagon when you're laying out turds like that and then keeping the winners to yourself?
No. Friday during lunch, because I go and start my weekend on Friday after Rapino's.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean Harness hit his pick. Troy Macker hit his pick. No, Sean Harness went 3-1. Troy went 1-0. Zach Scarborough went 1-0, straight up winner in the Knicks against the Mavericks, and your boy went a little 5-0. So yeah, we're holding out.
Whatever. So you get to go brag after you don't give us winners.
Yes, that's what we're doing. I'm at EJ's varsity debut, man. Got called up to the varsity today.
Hey.
A little 1 for 2 at a double in the first game. So,
all right. So who's handling the show tonight, man?
Hanny and Roscoe over at Ivars, and they've got Scarborough. He loves the cards tonight in the NBA. He loves it tonight in the NBA. So 6:15, he'll be giving out those picks. And man, it was fun to see the Dodgers in Padres this past weekend. One, it was an active crowd. It was a nasty crowd. I've been in that stadium for Dodgers-Padres games. It's just as many Dodgers fans, but it's kind of like, I hate to say it, but the Yankees with the second worst record in Major League right now, man, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see fans. A lot of fun. It was nasty.
Did you see him? Did you see the Yankee fans throw the balls on the field? Like, yep, fans are back, baby.
But guess what? Troy still said at Bet Rivers, they just continue to pound the Yankees. They just pound the Yankees, and so. Man, they just love betting the favorites, but the fading the Yankees have been a big profitable approach at this point.
You got anything tonight?
I like Gosman tonight.
Okay.
Gosman's kind of been up and down, and his opponent tonight has been down. So I think the old LSU boy will come back, and hopefully we catch him on the right side tonight. It's a modest number. They've been very good. I would say very good, but they've exceeded expectations at this point. So game's getting ready to go in a little bit, but we like the Giants early on against the Phillies.
Giants at Phillies, that's a 6:05 Central start, so you're talking about 12 minutes from right now. All right, anything else, or just rolling with Giants?
No, just watching my son urinate in the woods in between the doubleheaders. So, besides that.
Dad.
Look, Matt, no kidding. This is the best middle school game ever. He rushed he had a 78-yarder, a 90-yarder, a 60-yarder. Late in the third quarter, he runs off in the woods. I was like, bro, you got to go before the game starts, man. Come on, man.
or maybe he's trying to stay hydrated during timeouts and he's just drinking too much water during the game.
Man, I don't know. He made me watch Jake Paul knock this guy out 2 minutes on Saturday night. I don't know.
Hey, man, I'm
just along for the ride.
I saw Ben Askren in Vegas 2 summers ago. And when Ben Askren took the knee to the forehead from Jorge Masvidal. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
You may not remember the fight, but you might have seen the highlight where it was like a 3-second knockout where Masvidal flies across the cage and just puts a knee right in his dome. That's the last time I saw Askren. He still ain't right, bro. I mean, he went up there against Jake Paul and got knocked out in about 2 minutes.
No, he didn't. He I mean, I could put up a better fight. The hand, he could do a better fight.
Hey, let's not be crazy about that now. Come on.
Trust me, they didn't try and throw a punch, Matt. He didn't try and throw one punch. I mean, Jake Paul, Snoop Dogg and all of them. Listen, thing about it, we can joke and all with this YouTube and everything. They broke the grab. And not only that, but the handle was out of the. He started out $1.20 and off his $1.65. Everybody cleaned up because a lot of people sometimes will bet what they want to cheer for, and they want to cheer for this guy. I mean, but they they're putting up lines on it, and it was the handle was a lot. There was a lot through the window on Saturday night with this fight, man. It's unbelievable. This is the world we live in now, I guess.
Otter, have a great night, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. See you, man.
Thank you, Otter. All right, it is after further review. Just about done here. Brain, what'd you learn?
I learned that Anthony Ranaudo dose of reality today.
Paulie, what did you learn?
Bama spring game, largest crowd since COVID.
What about you, Matt?
Rams are going to Malibu for the draft. Looks pretty cool. Check it out on Twitter if you haven't seen it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Y'all have an awesome night. We will see you tomorrow at 3 for AFR.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Just last week, I was actually talking to Terrio. He's looking to buy a vehicle for his son, Houston, who's just about to be able to get his license and drive, and he wants to buy him a pre-owned vehicle, was having trouble finding something. I said, hey, man, go buy South Point Volkswagen. So, they have pre-owned vehicles? I didn't know that. Yes, South Point Volkswagen does have certified pre-owned vehicles as well. I say it every day, new and certified pre-owned. So you want to buy a new Volkswagen, you can do that. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. But they also have pre-owned vehicles. So go to the website, southpointvw.com, used vehicles, hit it right there at the top. And then you could search by year, by make, by model. It's all right there. I mean, the first one that pops up is a used 2021 GMC Sierra 1500 AT4. So you can check it out right there at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
At Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new Camry for $299 per month. That's $299 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon benefiting Dreams Come True.
And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these amazing kids, and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll never know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we're asking for your support and being a part of making dreams come true.
And as always, your dollars stay right here in Louisiana. Thank you.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.